I don't think we've gone that far in the podcast, but
hey, speaking of going that far, we're live. How's it going, everybody?
So now
that is how you suck a fart out of somebody's ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dave loves that shit.
Oh, it's good shit.
Good shit.
Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that's right.
His favorite characters love sausage, so.
Well, that's so stupid.
It is.
I don't even know how that became a meme. Like, that's not even a thing.
Dude, because you were talking about how much you fucking wanted it to pulsate in your mouth. All right, so we're here this week to talk about Vince McMahon's WrestleMania match with Pat McAfee.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Great.
And then we're going to finish off by our rating system. We're going to give a shitometer score to Vince McMahon taking the stunner. So
that's 100.
Just be prepared for that.
Damn, guys, I
alert,
came
it's
completely and utterly unprepared because I haven't seen either of those things.
What a loser you are.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know
LOOSER.
who Pat McAfee is, quite frankly.
Guys,
Puncher.
like, look, more importantly, if you guys haven't caught up on Stranger Things, I'm in the midst of a rewatch of that show right now. My God, that's such a great show. It might be.
You were watching Vikings.
Dude, I made it about 4 or 5 seasons in, and I was told by the internet to stop, so I stopped.
Are we governing season 4 of Stranger Things? Is that a thing?
I brought it up, and Josh, you were like, Dave, I'll rewatch it with you. I'm pretty sure we have it on recording somewhere, but then I hadn't heard anything.
Just wondering if has season 4 started?
No, it's in May. We got time. You got time to catch up.
Fucking May, dude. We ain't got time for that.
It's like at the end of May.
Yeah, you know what else is at the end of May? Obi-Wan, The Boys. Yeah. What are we gonna do? Yeah. Triple headers?
No.
Can we just do a triple header, like one season review? Because it's going to drop in like two chunks.
Yes.
We can table. What's that?
Yeah, I'll just listen to you guys talk about Stranger. I've never seen a single episode of that shit.
Well, you should watch it.
Let's just watch it, Fossil. You got time? Shut up.
Dude,
bitch.
I ain't got time. I barely had time to. I finished my material for today's podcast today.
Hey, you know what? If you didn't play Elden Ring, you'd have more time.
Yeah, no shit.
Dave?
But people on the internet can beat that game in 5 minutes.
7, motherfucker.
I saw today 1 minute and 30 seconds.
That's stupid. That doesn't even make sense. There's 7 bosses. How do you beat 7 bosses?
No, though, I'm just saying you get the credits to roll. That's beating the game.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah. Anyway, we're here to talk about Metallica.
Yeah, we are.
Starting this YouTube yet?
Dude, we've been on YouTube.
We've been live already.
So just before we move on, it's a trip. I did it 100%. What's that Legend of Zelda game? Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
100%. But I did almost everything except collect those.
The Korok seeds.
Creatures. It took me 165 hours to do everything except that part. What's fucked up is you go on YouTube and find people beating that game in under half an hour.
Yeah, well,
Adrian, if it makes you feel better, I have about 180 hours in Elden Ring, and I've only beaten I think 5 of the 7 bosses.
Yikes. Okay.
But Jason is a completionist.
Okay.
Speed runs on that game are I think at 9 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah. Gomez. Yeah. See, when we played WoW, like there's a ton of different like races and types of characters you can play. Classes. Yeah. Jason had every class maxed out, fucking decked and rating gear with maxed out professions. Like,
dude, I
thought I put a lot of time into the game, and I put like an eighth into that game, and I don't know how many days of playing time did you have put into that game?
So I had
Dave.
I don't remember.
In my main character, I believe I had 28 days in just my main.
Yeah, so I would have had more than Dave, I think. Probably,
I had
right?
over 100.
Probably.
Yeah, I probably would have been like 35 days. Yeah, Fossil's well over 100 days.
Is that game still going?
Yes.
Yeah.
It just had an expansion come out last year.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And they're re-releasing the classic WoWs with Lich King to come.
Yeah.
Let's say what's called what's it called, the re-rise of the Lich King?
Wrath. Yep.
That was the shit.
That was the shit. Yep.
That was the zenith.
Yeah, it was. But look, let's digress because that's going to be an inevitable podcast, I'm sure.
Somewhere down the line.
Yeah. Let's kick this podcast off because realistically, everybody who's watching or listening, strap yourselves in because this is going to be quite a long one. I'd get some coffee, get some popcorn. It's going to be some fireworks on this one.
In the opening bank heist scene.
Okay.
What the hell?
I'm trying to find this on YouTube, like us.
Tell me more, Gomez.
Tell me more.
Oh fuck.
Oh, that's been here before. That's right. Been here before.
So 3 guys, 1 mic. They have 190 subscribers.
Look. I don't need any of this.
3 guys and a mic. That's this channel.
Yeah, with less.
A little less than halfway.
Bro,
there.
my 12-year-old son has 500 subscribers at this point. All right.
Damn. For real, I'm the only one watching. All right, live chat.
Look. I usually just pull it up on my phone just to make it look like there's more people watching.
Damn, no shame, huh?
No fucking shame. Look, dude, you got to play the game if you want to win.
It's all about the game.
And how you play it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
all right, Josh.
I already let David know, but Triple H is not the best wrestler of all time, you fucking jackasses. Anyway.
Well, Stone Cold is. That's why he wasn't in the bracket.
Correct.
He's not the best either.
Who is?
When you say wrestler, do you mean in-ring performer or do you mean everything around him, including in the ring?
I mean everything around him, including in the ring.
Okay, so Stone Cold...
characters that are good wrestlers, you know?
During Stone Cold's reign, in the time frame in which he wrestled, he was the best at what he did. by far.
By a large margin.
You know what's interesting is I started watching when he was injured. So The Rock was the top guy. And from my perception, I disagree.
So you're saying The Rock is?
I'm saying The Rock was better at that time.
I mean, if you didn't start watching wrestling until...
Hello, and welcome to Three Guys in a Mic presents a fucking circus show.
Okay, anyway, let's just get this going. Because I'm already getting heated, and we're not even talking about our subject matter here. I had to turn on the fan. I'm starting to sweat.
All right, let's do this. Pull it.
What are my scores?
69. Better not be.
I mean, it's close.
Come on!
I'm waiting for everybody to shut up.
All right, I'm going to mute.
Dude, like I'm definitely going to burp in the next 4 seconds. All right, I'm going to mute myself.
God damn it. Hello, and welcome to Three Guys in a Mic presents a headbanger. What are we doing here? Oh, Metalhead's Journey.
Jesus.
Why do I have headbanger?
Jesus.
Here's this.
Woo.
Here we go.
That was rough central. All right.
All right,
Here we go.
Pull it. Misdirect incoming.
It's Metalhead's Journey, right? Hello, and welcome to Three Guys in a Mic presents a Metalhead's Journey, the Big Four, Metallica. I'm your co-host, the Human Dart, along with
Jason Tsunami.
David Disaster.
Adrian Aftershock.
We made it.
Oh,
Second time's a charm.
Look, man, it's been a while since we had the two-shot. It's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, yeah. Hey, man, mistakes still happen.
Yep.
Look
at me. Fuck you.
God damn. All right. Well, hey, here. Look, great news, ladies and gentlemen. If you're here, you already know what's going on because you saw it in the title. But we're here to talk about part 2 of the Metalhead's journey of Metallica here. So we're talking about the last 5 studio albums plus S&M.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I was gonna say, you know, in addition to that, we're probably gonna do a small recap of just the entire Big Four journey, as we've been on it this far, minus Jason because he's a bitch and doesn't want to listen to Megadeth.
Mega shit.
Yeah, but you know, just kind of our overall thoughts on the Big Four. You know, this project started with just these 4 bands, and obviously we've built onto that, as we'll, I'm sure, discuss later. Yeah, just kind of talk about the experience and, you know, what we learned or whatever from that. So
yeah. So we know this is going to be an incredibly long podcast, so we're gonna ditch the pleasantries and we're gonna get right into the list here. So, like I said, we're talking about 5 studio albums plus S&M. So we're gonna be talking about Load, Reload, S&M, Sane Anger, Death Magnetic, and Hardwired to Self-Destruct. So we are gonna go ahead and get started on Load. Here we go. All right, so Load came out in 1996. This album peaked at number 1 on the Billboard charts, and this one stayed at number 1 for 4 straight weeks. This album was released about 5 years after the Black Album. The band put together about 30 songs or so that they had worked on for over a year. The album was a very big departure from their previous material. With Load, we see the band turn towards a little bit more of a hard rock sound. We also see a pretty dramatic shift in the band's appearance. Namely, everybody in the band cut their hair. This album is the longest album in Metallica's catalog, coming in at 78 minutes and 59 seconds, and that's with cutting a full minute of material out of the Outlaw Torn.
yeah.
This album produced 4 singles. You had Until It Sleeps, Hero of the Day, Mama Said, and King Nothing.
Cool.
So let's fire off some shitometer scores here and
Josh, explain to those who may be joining us for the first time exactly what a shitometer score is and why they should care.
Good call, Dave. So as we've gone through some of our podcast content out there, namely the American Film Institute's top 100 films of all time, we decided that we needed to create our own proprietary rating system here on Three Guys and a Mic. And we often like to describe things as being shit and varying degrees of shit. So what we did was we developed the patent-pending shitometer. Okay? Right. And the name of the game here for the shitometer is you want the lowest score possible. You want to score a 0. Okay? Now, anything that's at 49 or lower, 49 or better, that's what we would pretty much call a recommend in various stages. Anything at a 50 or lower is worsening levels of shit, and we would not recommend it for whatever the reason would be.
50 or higher.
50 or higher, 50 or lower. If you go 50 to 100, that's bad. 49 down to 0, varying levels of good.
Yeah. And just for some small context, as it equates to Metallica, thus far, our cumulative score, so our highest, our best score is Master of Puppets at a 3.25, and and the worst score we've given so far is for Garage Incorporated at a 36.5. So just some context for of what a shitometer score might look like. So yeah, I guess Load, huh?
Load. Let's give them out.
Yeah. I guess Load.
Who wants to go first? I feel like this is like a standoff
I'll go
here.
First.
Do it.
I don't care. 37.
All right.
There you go. I gave. Oh,
What'd you say, Adrian?
45.
All right. I'm gonna just go ahead and throw mine out there, and I gave it a 49.
I gave Load a 35.
There you go.
Okay. That's okay.
2 smart people, 2 dumb people. I mean, me and Josh on one side and y'all on the dumb
side. To be completely fair, that is not that far off from each other. And
What's the aggregate?
That brings us to a 41.5. So that is now the worst Metallica album so far.
Okay. Can I go first?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not that we're taking turns here. We're all going to go. But anyway, I was thinking about these 6 albums and how they're so different from the first. I'll say 6. Let's just talk about the 5 studio albums. How these next 5 albums are different than the first 5 albums, right? And I think the main difference for me in these albums is especially like Load, Reload, and Saint Anger. It's all nostalgia for me. Like, I became a Metallica fan when the Black Album was out. I discovered Metallica through the Black Album. So Load is the first album that came out that was new material, right, for Metallica. And listen, I was ride or die with Load for a long time.
I remember.
Like Load was one of my favorite albums. At one point was my favorite Metallica album with the strength of some of the songs that were on here. And it's just kind of ties back to, again, like, it was that first new thing that came out after I discovered all the old stuff. This was the first new thing, so I was just super enamored with it when it came out. I like the transition. I was not. I'm probably more into thrash today than I was then. Whenever I discovered Metallica and went through all that, so I'm more into their old stuff today, I think, than I ever have been before, and I'm kind of getting less and less into some of the newer stuff, I guess you could say. So when I went and re-listened to Load for the first time in a while, like the whole album, the first thing that came to mind for me was Bloated.
Yes.
This is an incredibly bloated album. And look, 35 is not a bad score in the terms of the shitometer, but it's a lower Metallica score for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of want to echo some of what Josh said. I mean, for me, the album, I kind of forgot about a lot of these songs, especially in the back half. And honestly, a lot of what I'm about to say is going to be echoed on Reload. But I feel like half of this album was good, and half of this album is good material. And the other half is it's not egregiously bad. Like the song,
Anthrax bad.
it's just stock.
It's just very, very generic hard rock for the most part. And you kind of lose that, Metallica feel in a lot of the songs, to be fair. And
because historically they're pretty stingy on music they put out. I mean, they have albums with 8 songs and 9 songs on them, which is pretty low considering, most albums have 12 to 15 songs.
Yeah.
So for them to fill up an album with 13 songs that are, in total 79 minutes long, like that's a different shift. Definite shift.
I think this was the beginning, and I think they are still guilty of this to today, but this is the beginning of them not being, what is the word here? Basically just not willing to cut and their material down. They're not selective anymore. To your point, Josh, the earlier records, Kill 'Em All had 10, then you had a couple albums with 8, then you had 9, then you had Black Album with 10 again, I think, or maybe 11.
12.
No, 12, damn, okay. I was wrong on that. But a lot of their early material, it's pretty short, concise, and there's really not a lot of filler, even the songs that we don't think are amazing. And then this is kind of
I think they've shown some restraint though, because I mean we've seen versions of, or we know songs that have been left on the cutting room floor on Saint Anger, and we saw the Beyond Magnetic fucking dumpster fire that is those 4 songs that they left off the main album. Right?
To be fair, 2 of those songs on Beyond Magnetic actually are pretty decent.
They've shown some restraint.
We'll get to that.
But anyway, for me, Load is just too much. It feels long, and the songs that miss, I'm just not interested in hearing them ever again. To be fair, so
I'll jump in right quick, but I'm gonna make mine short because mine's gonna encompass Load and Reload. I'm coming at this from the complete opposite angle as Josh, because I was on Metallica, from say Master of Puppets, but not at the time of release. Followed Metallica before the Black Album hit, and then the Black Album hit. So I had that run of probably, I guess, 6 or 7 years were before Load came out. So Load and Reload are different for me in the aspect of, it wasn't nostalgia so much for me. I was expecting more of what I had already been accustomed to. So in Load and Reload, like I said, I'll just get into encompassing both. But like I said, I'm just coming at it from a different angle from you guys, I think. I don't know about Adrian's journey. Go ahead, Adrian.
Okay. So I did something different for Metallica. Well, I mean, I had to because I'm familiar with all of these albums for the most part. When I went into this, I was like, okay, here's what you have to do. And David's going to roll his eyes. Here's what you have to do, bro. You have to go into this album because there's 3 albums I know that I don't like from Metallica. Or I should say new. I didn't like from Metallica going into this. Kill 'Em All, Load and Reload. I'd almost say Load I hated. I know I hated Kill 'Em All. But going into this, it's like, here's what I have to do. I have to make sure I judge the albums for what they are, not for what they're not. Just like Kill 'Em All, I judged it for what it is, a steaming pile of shit, and not for what it isn't, which it isn't a good album. Now going into Load, okay, it's a hard rock album, that with Southern influences. I'm not into that really, but this is Metallica's take on it. This is a thrash metal band's take on this. So, listen to it for what it is and try to appreciate the direction, the art, and what they're trying to, put out there. And going into Load like that, I have to say I was pleasantly surprised. I remember hating Ain't My Bitch, 2x4, and those songs just fucking jam, man.
Hold on, you like 2x4?
I mean, I feel like if it comes on the radio, I'm not going to turn it off, right? Now, a month ago, that would have been a different conversation. As a matter of fact,
oh, sorry.
I don't think there is a bad song on this album. Seriously, there's not a bad song on this album. There's just a lot of music that, just in general, the style, I'm just not into it.
So I remember you saying in our chat, I don't know when it was, but you're talking about Mama Said specifically. And yeah. I remember, Mama Said is one of my highlights from the album. And I just remember showing people this song and being like, hey, man, you want to hear a Metallica country song? And I put it on. And, dude, I was fucking just, blown away. Whenever the song kicked in and he had Kirk Hammett's, little leadlet came in, and it was, a straight-up fucking country song, I was like, holy shit, dude, this is fucking crazy. But I've loved that song for forever.
So, yeah, I don't actually, Josh, that was April 1st. I was trying to troll you. So you'd be like, see, I told you, and I could be like, April Fool's, bitch. But the joke's on me because I actually don't hate that song. It's like, man. I don't like country music, but this is a good. If I was to have to listen to country music, I'd want it to sound like this, Yeah. So again, I was happy with coming into it. My biggest issues is obviously it sounds good. Everyone's on top of their game. I don't think James' voice ever sounded better than Load and Reload. Yeah. Singing voice, I mean. But I don't know. I don't picture myself popping this album in and jamming it from start to finish. Yeah. I just don't picture myself. There's too much filler. And like I said, there's not a bad song, but yeah, there's just a lot. There's highs and there's lows, and it's a little inconsistent.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It has super high highs, though. I mean, Bleeding Me and Outlaw Torn obviously kind of being the two, I think, main event songs for this album, but songs like Wasting My Hate, which is really good, and I love The House that Jack Built. Here of the Day's good too.
Wasting My Hate. I feel like that could have been a Black Album song, and that's a song that I completely have brushed off. I'm skipping. I literally never gave that song the time of day until this round of listening to Load, which now it's it's a jam for me.
Yeah.
Yep. So I just want to address something that Adrian said real quick. So he said, this was Metallica's take on hard rock, and he wants me to judge it for what it is, not what it isn't. Nacho fries are Taco Bell's take on French fries, and I'm going to judge it for what it is and not what it isn't. And what it is terrible French fries. That's all.
Dave, how dare you say that about Taco Bell?
God.
I just wanted to.
Adrian.
Taco Bell
Adrian.
named the number one fast food joint by three guys on the mic.
Yeah, I love them, but if they,
so you know,
Taco Bell needs to stick with what it's good at, which is degenerate Mexican food. Not like it's because it's not real Mexican food; it's like just fake shit. But they are good at that. You know, Metallica should probably do the same.
Tex-Mex food.
Those nacho fries were not that bad.
They're also not very good. Kind of like this album. All right, let's move on.
Dude, not your fried.
Right, listen, I will just point out though that the fucking little talk box solo in House of Jack Bill is pretty tasty.
That is definitely the worst part of
it. Oh, fuck off!
Definitely, it is.
Dude, I completely forgot to bring that up. Like, what the fuck are they doing? This isn't Peter Frampton, goddammit.
No, I talked to Dave about that. I said,
why is Peter Frampton the generic talk box guy to go to? Nobody goes to fucking Bon Jovi anymore for talk box.
That he's famous for that, right? Bon Jovi's famous for other shit.
Bon Jovi's famous for whoa, 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 whoa.
Just talk box.
I know, but
oh man,
huh? I just normally you have somebody do the talk box and they're playing like they're like singing with the yeah, but in this
dude, you can mouth that whole fucking thing. You can sing that whole solo. So your argument is stupid.
That said, I thought I hated that song, "The House of Jack Built," and it's a pretty good song.
It's
a good song.
It's
I just don't like
I instant skip 2x4 to go to House of Jack Built. Like 2x4, get the fuck out of here.
I can't skip 2x4 fast enough.
Bro, like
2x4 is definitely it may or may not show up later on my list of the worst Metallica.
All right, songs. So let's talk about let's talk about basically the same album.
All right. I take offense to that. All right, we're going to talk about
This is about Load and Reload. Were the tracks on Reload written at the same time the tracks as Load were? Like, were they part of that 30 track?
Yes.
Adrian.
Yo.
We're talking about Reload here. It came out in 1997. This album peaked at number 1 on the Billboard chart. The original plan was to release Load and Reload as a double album. But due to some issues in the recording studio, they opted to release them as 2 separate albums. Obviously, this album sounds very similar to the style we heard on Load. This album also produced 4 singles. You had The Memory Remains, Unforgiven 2, Fuel, and Better Than You. Metallica does win a Grammy for the song Better Than You in 1999, notably beating Du Hast by Rammstein.
Wow.
Rammstein song.
It was Better Than You written for the album Load. Like Reload, tell Load it's Better Than You because it is.
Maybe. So, yes, Adrian, to answer your question, all these songs were brought together.
All right, let's get these scores out of the way.
Do it.
All right,
39.
Oh, okay, 39. I got a 42.
I got a 43.
Josh, don't be trying to change your scores over here.
No, I'm not. I got it on paper. I'll show you. Listen. I'm going to tell you what my score is, and I'm going to tell you why. It's a 17 for me.
Wow.
Holy fuck.
That is ridiculous.
I get it. I get it.
No,
and listen.
No, it's not.
There has been times where this was not my favorite album from Metallica, and not a super high album. But I'll tell you why here in a second. What's the overall score here?
That is ridiculous. That actually just makes me upset. 35.25 is the overall score.
It's a little bit better than Load.
I mean, that's pretty realistic, though. I mean,
it's just an opinion, Dave.
Oh, that's okay. Fine. That's fine. That's fine.
No, look. So let me tell you about this thing called. It was a worldwide pandemic, okay, known as the coronavirus. All right.
That was a thing.
Yeah. And listen, as a retail worker, who already, maybe I wasn't a big fan of people after 20 years of being in retail. The pandemic. I promise you, this is going back towards the Metallica album. The pandemic just really made it worse because it really brought out the the massive amount of scumbag that resides inside of people that go out in the resale stores. And anyway, we're not here to talk about that. But it was a hard 2 years, obviously for a lot of different reasons, from disease and things like that. Right. Okay, so I'm only coming at this from my time dealing with people out there, where I have a customer on my sidewalk calling me a cocksucker while his 2 6-year-old kids fucking ridicule me on the fucking sidewalk, right? So I found myself a lot of times like needing something to pick me up, you know, like from a mental standpoint, I really needed something to like perk me up and kind of keep my mind off of, you know, people. And for whatever reason, like Reload was that album for me. Like I could put Reload on, I could play all the songs, and I could play it all the way through. It felt good. Like I genuinely like every song on this album. And that wasn't always the case. Why is that the case today? I don't know. You know, I can't tell you why I feel like this album is that much better than Load and why it's better than some of the other albums, but it's just from a mental standpoint for me right now going through that, this album was like super crucial for me. You know, Fuel just feels good, man. Like I know it's kind of a cheesy song. I've seen Metallica play live like 7 or 8 times or whatever it is now, and they play it every time, and you can always tell that Hetfield loves that song. Like, they always put a ton of energy into that, and you always get fucking badass pyro. And Memory Remains is a fucking jam.
Wait, what song?
Oh, Fuel was the first one I was talking about, if it got cut off, sorry.
You said Reed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Fuel was, you know, is always a really good live song, and then Memory Remains is a fucking jam as well. So, you know, look, I don't know, musically, is it better than this album or that album? I don't know. But where my headspace has been for the last couple of years, this album was like super crucial for me. So I give it a better score on that because I think this album means a lot more to me than the songs do, and like individually. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's where I'm at on it.
That makes sense. All right, I'll jump in and say my piece on this Load Reload.
Yeah, go for it.
Coming from where I came from, you know, I'd been riding the high and waiting for Metallica's next album, which turned out to be the Black Album. And then I was just like, I was at the crest of the wave and didn't know it. I thought I was still like paddling out. And so Load and Reload are not terrible. They're not. But they're very hit or miss. And I think we've been kind of saying that with both of these albums. There are very good songs, great songs on both albums. And then there are songs that I can't skip fast enough on both albums. And when you find out that all of these albums were kind of put together at the same time and you know, produced at the same time, and they were going to make it a double LP, and you know, they went ahead and split it up for whatever reasons. It's times like this where we kind of you know, we were talking about it, where these are just too long, and there wasn't anybody there to pull them in or rein them in. So when I see stuff like these 2 albums, and especially then going into the next album, like, I blame whoever was in charge of producing these albums, of not stepping in and saying, hey, let's trim this, let's trim that. If you'd have taken the best songs off
James Hetfield and Lars are in charge, bro.
Well, then that's fine. If they're the ones in charge, then you know, they're the reason for some of the angst towards this section of their career, and that's fine because, you know, I mean, they made plenty of money. They can do whatever they want. They earned a right to do what they want. But I just feel like had they had somebody step in and say, you know, here's what we want to put out, and put these 2 albums, you know, cranked it down to 11 or 12 albums or songs, and put one out, this would have been a fucking great record.
Yeah,
meaning they would have just picked the best songs of the bunch and made one record.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look, they talk about it. If you go back and watch Some Kind of Monster, they talk specifically about this album, or about these 2 albums, saying that, you know, like they instead of coming in and picking the cream of the crop, they constantly worked and reworked on a lot of the songs to get them on the albums. So I think, I mean, obviously after the fact they realize, you know, what it was, but you know, look, I mean, if you go to the Black Album where it's the first one with Bob Rock, you get pieces of this album in that, but very small pieces, and you know they start to really enjoy that, and they like where that stuff can go, and so then when they get to Load and Reload, it's very experimental for them in terms of the project, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like I said, I just feel like at this time, like they had gotten so big, I feel like everybody just thought that whatever they were writing was fucking gold.
Yeah.
And for some people, maybe it was. But for me, it wasn't. And I think that shows in the scores that we gave.
Yeah, I completely agree with Jason. I think especially listening to these kind of one after the other, you know, not in one sitting because I don't have that kind of time, but just listening to them back to back, I completely agree with Jason. There's just too much. They both have the same problem of there's just too much filler in each of the albums, and I feel like, you know, they both have about 5, you know, depending on the day or whatever, they both have somewhere between 4 and 6 songs that I felt like really, really shined. And they just made one 10-song album. They could have really had something, for me, how Josh rated Reload. Like, they would have had something, like, really special.
Yeah.
But
well, Dave, it's funny you say that. So I mean, if you were to execute your own super load, mega load, I don't know, whatever you'd want to call it, album, what would your 10 songs be from the 2 albums?
Yeah, so I would call the album Bleeding Me, and I'd make Bleeding Me the title track. So I have mine in a specific order, but you guys, you do whatever you want. So I have Fuel, Bleeding Me, Where the Wild Things Are, Unforgiven 2, The House that Jack Built, Outlaw Torn, Memory Remains, King Nothing, Wasting My Hate, and close it with Fixer.
I think didn't we break it down like what the score would have been had you, if it was that album, it was like a 17 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Or a 20?
It was something like that. Yeah, this would be like, this would be close to, this would be like a low 20s score for me, probably somewhere between a 20-22.
And I think mine was around a 17.
Adrian, you look like you were going to say something a second ago.
No, I'm over here. I'm sending y'all the link to my playlist of this.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'll go ahead and pop off here. I've always liked Reload, but more than Load, and this, you know, coming back to it is no exception. Obviously, the production is great, the guitar playing is great. Their take on this type of music, in my opinion, is good. Something Jason mentioned, like someone, like whoever was in charge, blah blah blah. I wonder, given the time of year, or, you know, I guess not time of year, but time of, you know, era of when this album came out, if they were told, hey, you know, maybe I should try something else, or if it was their choice. I mean, do we know the answer to that question?
I mean, I don't think we definitively know the answer to the question, but they just released the biggest album in the fucking world. Like, I think they had the power to walk in and put their nuts on the table and be like, look, we're gonna fucking, like, if we want to write a goddamn ballet, we're gonna do that.
Right on.
And I don't disagree. Like, I truly do feel like the powers that be somebody should have stepped in and said, you know, this is what we really need to do.
Yeah. No,
and somebody should have stepped in and told them how to write their music. Yeah, that's genius. That's a really good thought.
Dude, look, I mean, you know, that's what
a producer is for.
That's what labels do. They tell you, hey, this is the direction we want to go. I mean, you know, granted, again, you're right. Metallica just released a Black album, and their balls are bigger than everybody in the fucking industries at the time. So, sure.
Yeah. I think there's levels to that. Like, you're not going to Queen. Like, look, if you guys have seen Bohemian Rhapsody, right, where they're telling Queen, like, what they want the album to be about and everything like that before Night at the Opera comes out, you don't see them telling Queen later on, like, hey, you need to write this type of song anymore. Like, once a band becomes that big, fuck off. Like, that's for the fucking dream theaters and the deaths and of the world that are fucking small and feeble.
No, I mean, look, I wouldn't throw Death's name in there.
A genre of metal named after that band. Man.
No, yeah, I'm joking.
Wait, hold on. So I'm not done. I have two criticisms of this album.
Yes, sir.
This is not a live album. This is a recording. We shouldn't be dropping random suckets in fucking songs. That shouldn't be a thing. Yeah, I get it. Suck It was a very popular thing in the late 90s. Save it for the live shit, man. Also, my spoiler alert, my least favorite Metallica song of all time is on this album. I fucking hate this song. It's trash, it's stupid, and it's fuel. It's garbage. Awesome live. Yeah, well, this isn't live, Josh. This is on the fucking album, and it's embarrassing.
I think it's great on the album too. I thought you were going to go Low Man's Lyric. I'm proud of you for not picking the low-hanging fruit there. Good for you.
Hey, man, I actually like that song.
Low Man is on my unloaded. Believe it or not.
Oh, hey! Speaking of that, why don't you rattle that off?
Okay, well let me pull it up. If one of y'all have y'all's up, go for it.
I got it. So I don't have mine in any order, but I have Fuel, Memory Remains, Unforgiven 2, Bleeding Me, Outlaw Torn, Fixer, Waste My Hate, Until It Sleeps, The House That Jack Built, and Attitude.
Josh, we have 9 of the 10 same songs.
I know. That's because they're good songs.
Which one?
And you're a smart man.
I don't hate Attitude. It's just to me that's one of the fillers, man.
So you picked. I don't hate it. Which one did you? Would I have? Did you not have?
Attitude.
But I'm trying to think which one I had that you didn't.
I can't stand that song, Attitude.
I hate that song too. I don't like it at all. King Nothing or Where the Wild.
Oh yeah, I didn't have King Nothing.
Okay, that's what it was.
All right, mine is my title track is Until It Sleeps. I start the album off with The Memory Remains because that's a fucking banger. Then we have Until It Sleeps, Where the Wild Things Are, Unforgiven 2 as the number 4 track, of course.
Yep.
Prince Charming, Low Man's Lyric, King Nothing, Bleeding Me, Wasting My Hate, and of course ending the album with Fixer, which is probably the best of the whole bunch of 30 fucking songs or whatever it is.
I good. It's really good. All right, Jason.
Yeah, all right, so let me see. I had a list somewhere. I'll just go off my scores. So let's see. The House Jack Built, Till It Sleeps, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, Outlaw Torn. Let's see. Unforgiven 2. Carp Diem Baby. Let's see. Low Man's
Was it a fucking fish?
Huh?
Hey, does that song not give y'all like Black Sabbath vibes? Like, am I tripping?
Oh, definitely. They're big time Black Sabbath fans. They played Black Sabbath's introduction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Let Jason finish.
I think that was it. Besides,
I
Memory Remains would be the last one.
Carp
I think that's it.
What is that? Look.
Like, people get that shit tattooed on them. Like,
Carpe Diem seize the day, yeah.
Listen, I can be like Adrian too and give like really like ridiculous criticism. The only reason why I don't pick King Nothing for any of these lists is because the very end of the song where he hits the "Often Never Neverland." That's so fucking cringy. Get out with that.
Hey, what?
Yeah,
does he really?
Yeah, he does. He does say that. Yeah,
at the very, very end of the song.
Metallica in their later years, as we will, I'm sure, discuss, don't know how to end songs. Hence, the ending of Some Kind of Monster. Yikes. Big time yikes.
Dude, yeah. Like the worst album after, but I guess we'll get to that.
All right.
The hits just keep on coming.
Dude, we're about to get into the real shit here.
All right. So
I'm after pop first, by the way.
Oh my god.
Well, first it's S&M.
Oh, okay, okay.
Jesus. Okay, so after Load and Reload, Metallica thought, hey, we need to do some fun stuff here because we just came out with a bunch of serious albums in a row. And so they come out with Garage Inc., which we have already covered in the first set of albums here on the podcast. So if you want to hear us talk about Garage, go back to part 1 of Metallica. It's the very first album we talk about.
Yep.
After Garage Inc., they come out with the album Symphony of Metallica, or S&M for short, in 1999. This album peaked at number 2 on the Billboard charts. So during the recording of the Black Album, Bob Rock had the idea of adding some orchestration to the song Nothing Else Matters. They sent the track to a renowned composer named Michael Kamen.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Michael Kamen did die in 2003. Michael Kamen's famous for composing just a few movies you guys may have heard of before, such as The Three Musketeers, Three Musketeers, Highlander, X-Men, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the Lethal Weapon series, the first 3 Die Hards, Mr. Holland's Opus, and the HBO miniseries From the Earth to the Moon, and Jason, Band of Brothers.
Wait, are we talking movies now? What's happening?
Michael Kamen.
I'm giving you a history on Michael Kamen here and why he's important to the Metallica story. He won a Grammy for his work on Mr. Holland's Opus. At that same Grammys, Metallica was there winning a Grammy for the Black Album, and Michael Kamen served up the idea of, hey man, you guys should really play a concert with an orchestra. And they said, cool man, we'll think about that. And 7 years later. Then about 7 years later, they reached out and said, hey, we'll do that concert. On this album here, we did see 2 brand new tracks introduced, No Leaf Clover and Mine is Human. The album did produce 2 singles, Nothing Else Matters, the 1999 version, and No Leaf Clover.
All right.
When I first heard No Leaf Clover, sorry. Yeah, we got to give our shit.
Okay, so scores. You said you wanted to go first on this, Adrian?
He wants to go first on Saint Anger.
Okay.
I'm giving this a 38.
Okay, I want to go last on here because I want to talk first.
Okay. I'm giving this a 50.
Damn. All right,
Jason?
I gave it, and I just want to preface this by saying that I tried my best to let some of these scores be on their own, but this album to me is very much like Garage Inc., in which they just covered their own songs. And so if I didn't like the song,
well, Garage Inc. is a cover of other people's songs. They just played their songs live. Okay.
Yeah, with symphony behind it. So if it was a sucky song to begin with, it didn't make it better or worse. So I gave it a 35.
You said all that. You said all that, and you have the best score.
I didn't change my score to 49. By the way, y'all used to say 50 was the cutoff, but I guess today it's 49, so my score is 49.
Well, I didn't want any 50s on this ranking. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna be right there on the other side of the fence with you, Adrian. I'm at a 51. And I wanna go first because I kind of want to explain. So I had really fond memories of this album. So Josh, I remember Josh kind of saying that Load and Reload was that special time for him for when he became a Metallica fan. So I became a Metallica fan the year that Garage Incorporated came out. So I got Garage Incorporated, and then a couple of years later I got this album. So I was all in as a Metallica fan at this point. They could do no wrong. Every album was a 1 on the Shadow meter, and they were pretty much the best band, and I didn't like anything else pretty much. So coming back to this, and I remember playing the shit out of S&M in high school. So coming back to this, I was like, let's go. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And I got to tell you, this album has not held up, and part of it is a few things, but I think the glaring problem, and look, I get it. They had just come off releasing Load and Reload, so they wanted to play songs from that or whatever their excuse was. But I think those songs lent themselves to it, though. I completely disagree. I think this set list is atrocious.
100% agree, Dave.
This set list is atrocious, and actually
that may be the case, but these songs were slower and they lend themselves to being paired with the fucking symphony.
Not an excuse. In fact, I think
the faster songs on this album are the worst. Master of Puppets is a fucking train wreck. That sucks so bad.
You can blame that on Lars if you want to, but I don't agree. I think the song is good. The fact that there's no Fade to Black, not a fast song, by the way.
Fade to Black should have been there.
Fade to Black is a travesty. The fact that they didn't play Orion, could have played Orion, would have probably saved some of the album for me.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you?
Sanitarium, also not a super fast song until you get to the very end. Not on this album. Creeping Death. You're telling me, Josh, your favorite song, Creeping Death, they couldn't have made it work? Give me a fucking break.
I'm glad they didn't fucking try to ruin it with that.
Dude, no. This set list is so egregiously bad. I wanted to give it worse. And also, Minus Human. Can we just minus that song from existence? Because that song sucks so much balls.
Dave's been saving that one up for a week.
No, actually, I just made it up now, and I'm pretty proud of myself. No Leaf Clover is good, but dude, but no, I agree. No Leaf Clover is a great song.
Hot take. I said this in the chat earlier. I'm going to say it again. I think I said this when we did our bracket. No Leaf Clover is one of the best songs for me that Metallica has made since the Black Album.
Okay,
it's pretty good. I don't do the rating system like Jason does, where I rate individual songs. But if I did, this would be the one album that has the 0 rated song, which is the S&M version of Bleeding Me. The version of this song is unfucking touchable. There is never a better Metallica moment in song. I mean, there's individual sections, but this entire song and James Hetfield's vocals in particular are never, ever better than this single moment.
So I'm glad you bring that up, Josh, because there is some heavy discussion online, and I already can see it, but I'm going to say it because I feel like I need to say it because it's something I started noticing or feel like I noticed on the re-listen. I am nearly certain, and a lot of people online are as well, that James is definitely using some type of vocal assistance, at least on the recording of this album. Whether you want to call it auto-tune or something, it's something he's doing. There is definitely some post-production going on with his voice.
It's not post-production either. He just has either a delay or a chorus on his voice, which if you listen to acapellas of even And Justice for All, he has all that too.
Okay, I guess, sure. It's whatever you want to call it. It is
turned up to 11 on S&M. To be fair, it's live.
Whatever you want to call it, it is not a genuine live performance. It's definitely enhanced. And look, I'm not gonna say that it makes it sound worse. It sounds good, but it's not his raw voice with just a mic.
Dave,
whenever he's hitting the go ahead, Josh.
Posturing for a second here, because I've had conversations with you about this song, just me and you, where you are suckling at the teat of how good his fucking voice is on this song.
No, I
quit being argumentative and just say it.
Which song?
Bleeding Me.
No,
he fucking loves this song.
I do like this song.
The vocals. I say that, Dave, because you're just trying to be a dickhead right now.
No, I'm not at all. Did I say that his voice sounds bad on this record? No, I just said I'm pretty sure he is getting assistance.
You're accusing this guy of being Barry Bonds right now, bro.
That's not at all. This isn't a Milli Vanilli situation. This dude isn't just fucking like going back and singing over it in the recording studio. I didn't say all that. I'm just saying this is not a pure live performance is what I wanted to say. That's it.
All I'll say is when he's hitting those comes on fucking
that are like pitch perfect,
dude. That is not. There is no fucking. There's no like a tool that does that. That is all James, bro.
Okay, sure.
That is all James.
All right.
But let me say my piece with this album. I don't like live music. Experiencing live music is different than listening to live music.
Correct,
even watching live music is different than just listening to it. You'll never catch me, unless it's like our band or my band, whatever, listening to live music. I just don't do it. Josh, I don't agree with you. I prefer the studio version of Bleeding Me. I just do. However, as a Metallica fan, I do think you need to do yourself a favor and listen to this album. I mean, it's just, just experience it. It is what it is. And I agree with you that the faster songs on this are probably the worst ones. But even if they're riding on the fact that they're on Load and Reload or just off Reload by a year, Low Man's Lyric would have been a fucking fantastic song for this album.
Fiction.
And Nothing Else Matters is fucking like it would have been. It's obvious. It's obvious. Like, why was that not there?
Nothing Else Matters is on the album.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a single.
Ooh, whoops. Ooh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
right in the middle. It's right in the middle. Right
Well,
after.
so I didn't make a list of the songs that I wished were on here, but Low Man's Lyric would have been an obvious choice for me. Especially, I mean, over Devil's Dance easily.
Or of Wolfgang and Man.
God, dude, why is that song on here, dude?
Good. I don't hate that song.
I think so. I watched some of the live performance earlier on YouTube while we were getting ready to do this, and I 100% believe the only reason they did that song is so he could make that joke live of Wolfgang and Man. No, because he's talking about Wolfgang, Mozart.
Oh, huh. Yeah, that of Wolf and Man. I don't hate that song like you guys do, but it didn't belong on this album, on this release to me. A Fade to Black, a Sanitarium, a Low Man's Lyric, fucking any of their slower songs. Again, agreed with you on that, Josh. Would have worked there, but
yeah.
Anyway,
Dave, what was the accumulative score?
This is the new title for the worst Metallica album so far, and it's still at a 43.25. So, we have yet to have a non-recommend with Metallica so far.
Sorry, guys, I just don't see myself revisiting this album. No Leaf Clover, however, that may be one of their best songs of all time.
Thank you, Adrian.
Man, y'all like that song way more than
That's a good song.
That's a slight overstatement for me.
It's not in my top 10. It's not in my top 10, but it'd be in my top 20.
Oh, that's still too high for me.
I love that song because it's a song that you can like for me personally, I just sing the shit out of that song. Like today when I was driving home, I probably played that song like 2 or 3 times, and I just wore the shit out of my voice on that song.
Jason's like, it comes to be, yeah.
Look, the only reason that was in our top 32 bracket is because we needed an S&M representation. Otherwise, that wouldn't have even been in the top 32 bracket.
No, for sure. All right, Josh.
Everything on Load and Reload.
All right, Josh.
No, it's not.
Absolutely. Way better.
Oh my god, that wouldn't even be that wouldn't even make the top 10 of the Load and Reload. It wouldn't be on the Mega Load.
Dude, it'd be the title track for me.
Like I said, it's the best song since the Black Album.
Y'all are wait, including Hardwired and Death Magnetic?
Yep.
Yes.
That is just y'all are just. Look, I know me and Josh are about to disagree, right here, in the 5 seconds, but right now, Josh, I'm right there with you. These guys have lost their mind. All right, guys.
I feel like we're in Spaceballs right now because I'm surrounded by assholes.
Well, we've made it to the moment that.
Hold on, I got a little bit of stuff in between here, real quick, before we get officially to Saint Anger. So I wanted to cover some of the time here between S&M and Saint Anger real quick, just because this is a pivotal part of the band. So. Before we get to Saint Anger, in 2000, Metallica discovered a demo of its song "I Disappear" that they wrote to be on the soundtrack for Mission Impossible 2 on a peer-to-peer file sharing site named Napster. The song had yet to be released officially. They filed a lawsuit almost 22 years to the day on April 13th, 2000, against Napster for a number of infractions. It was later ruled that Napster would have to filter out artists who did not want their music shared on the site. Napster later filed for bankruptcy. So,
way to go, Metallica.
We know Metallica so look, that's a prime example here. We know that Metallica was the number one band that got all the hate for this, but there were plenty of other artists that were very vocal against Napster, including Prince, Eminem, Dr. Dre. Actually, was the only other person that officially sued them as well. The Red Hot Chili Peppers and some other bands. So it's just kind of funny that Lars Ulrich and Metallica become the, enemy number one against that, though.
The most vocal.
I think it's just a little ironic, and this is kind of what people thought at the time, but I'm just thinking about this now, is they came up at a time where tape trading was a thing. That was literally what made them famous, was people sharing their music. And the fact that they were essentially figureheads to take down what was, through technology, the latest version of tape trading, it seemed a little bit, kind of counterintuitive there.
It was all about the Benjamins, Dave, at that point.
Well, I guess,
I think that's painting it. I think that's painting it in too simple of a light, though. I mean, before you're talking about having to mail somebody a tape across the world, whereas now I can share an entire catalog of music with somebody in as fast as I can download it. Which, look, in those times wasn't very fast, okay, but it was definitely faster than mailing something across the world
in your underwear.
Current times, it's
I was too young when all that was going on, so I don't remember the controversy. But I will say, as a musician, if I write music and it's, I expect people to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Like, obviously, it's. I think Metallica received a lot of hate for it, mostly because they had already made their Mega Millions, and so like this isn't them being a struggling band that. And obviously, in hindsight, with the way the music industry is now, they didn't win. Obviously, like in the long.
They were right though.
Yeah, I mean, you just didn't have something like Spotify, which basically created other streaming services that actually
pay for play.
Yeah, but I mean, look, if Napster wasn't a thing, then maybe there wouldn't be a Spotify and an Apple Music and all of that.
Yeah, I just think that the reason why they became the forefront was because more than anybody, it seemed like Lars was always in front of a TV microphone.
Yeah,
and he always just came off as, and look, he had every right.
He's a shrewd businessman, and he comes off as so.
He always had that and kind of whiny.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It is what it is. Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting time in Metallica's history. In January 2001, Jason Newsted leaves Metallica for private and personal reasons, and the physical damage. They leave for private and personal reasons, and the physical damage I have done to myself over the years while playing the music I love, which was total fucking bullshit. One reason for leaving was him wanting to play in a side project called fucking Echo Brain. Okay, and Hetfield didn't like the idea of that because it was going to make Metallica sound weak because this dude's playing in some pussy band called Echo Brain.
You're completely twisting exactly what happened.
That is precisely what happened.
No.
He said, James, can I go play in Echo Brain with my friends?
First off,
that sounds like some pussy shit, bitch.
Did I have more than 3 fucking writing credits in this goddamn band?
No, he can't.
No.
Did you hear Echo Brain? Did you want those fucking songs as Metallica songs? They're shit. Did you hear his own fucking solo shit? Those songs were shit. Those songs were 100 on the shitometer.
Bro, so you're stupid. So look, James Hetfield has already come out in hindsight and admitted completely that he was completely in the wrong for all of that, and they basically never stopped grieving. Oh, they did the right thing by kicking out the best bass player the band ever had. Yeah, that's true.
What do you mean? Robert Trujillo's still in there, unless I missed something.
Yeah. So how many bangers has Robert Trujillo put forth to the band? Man Unkind. That's give me a break. So while Jason Newsted is playing committing Blackened to the band, he's putting Man Unkind. And while Jason Newsted absolutely is one of the reasons why their live performances in the late 80s all the way through the not the 90s and the 2000s, why they were the live band that they were, because you had Jason Newsted on backing vocals.
Hey, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this on the last album that we reviewed. Jason Newsted is a standout in S&M, especially in fucking Call of Cthulhu. And Call of Cthulhu, the live version from S&M.
Why, did he do backup vocals in
No, because
Call of Cthulhu? Because the only highlight he's got.
Because Jason is a good bass player.
Yeah, because
sure. I mean, he was a good bass player, but I mean, why wouldn't you want an elite bass player? Oh, they did. That's why they got rid of him. Good for them.
Oh my god.
Good for them.
Anyway, also he's a great backup vocalist live. Anyway,
look, if they want to bring him back to do backup vocals, that's fine. Because let me tell you what kind of offers he's fielding right now. Okay. Alex Van Halen, the drummer for Van Halen, obviously, is trying to put together a Van Halen tour without Eddie Van Halen. And so it's going to be him, Joe Satriani. He's trying to get Newsted to play the fucking bass so he can get David Lee Roth to sing too. Huh?
Where's Wolfgang?
He's got his own band.
Okay.
You ever heard that?
No.
Pretty good. It's called Mammoth. It's pretty good.
Anyway, I'm sure Jason Newsted is a millionaire, dude. I mean,
a multi-millionaire.
Probably 10 times over, yeah. Just from the Black album. Anyway, Newsted's
we're talking about a guy who literally he's said it publicly. He doesn't even want to have a relationship with a woman or whatever because he's dedicated his life to music. Of course he's going to want to express himself when his main band is only giving him fucking 3 writing credits over the course of what? 10
years.
15 years?
Yeah. I mean, look, they fucking took Kirk Hammett's phone away for an album, and now he has to fucking release an EP. That's like it's fine. The one song he's released. It's probably just as good as Echo Brain.
No, that was better than Echo Brain for sure.
No.
Okay, let's pause this. Let's pause this podcast and let's go listen to the Echo Brain record. And you tell me if you want to hear any of that on a Metallica record.
I actually jammed Echo Brain.
I actually jammed Echo Brain. Look, I had the album, okay, because I was a fucking simp, okay, and I liked Jason Newsted at the time, and I bought that shit, and I regretted it because it sucks.
Now the truth comes out.
I'm not gonna front.
Jilted lover.
Is that what it is, Josh?
Yeah,
that's right. Fuck you, Jason.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't care for the Echo Brain shit either. All right, I don't.
There you go.
All right, let's get on to the next.
Right.
Yeah.
Album.
Moving on here. So in 2001, Metallica started filming a documentary about the recording of their next album, which ended up being the movie Some Kind of Monster. The film showed the band struggling in the aftermath of Jason leaving. Hetfield checks himself into rehab for alcoholism and other things. We do see the band overcome their issues, and they finally welcome in a new bass player, Rob Trujillo. So the next album that comes out here is, look, this is a heavily criticized album here called Saint Anger. This album came out in 2003. This album peaked at number 1 on the Billboard charts. So we see a return to a more aggressive style on this album. The album is a concept album of sorts, as it's supposed to sound as if it was recorded by a band in a garage. The sound of the album, the songwriting, the lack of solos, the snare drum, the vocals have all been criticized heavily. This album was the first time we saw band members actually writing lyrics for the songs outside of just James Hetfield.
Mistake.
This album does feature Bob Rock on bass for the first time and is the last album to be produced by Bob Rock. The album produced 4 singles: Saint Anger, Frantic, The Unnamed Feeling, Some Kind of Monster. Metallica did win a Grammy for the song Saint Anger. Saint Anger, man. Let's give our scores.
All right.
I'm going last.
Okay. I'll start it off. I'm at a 65.
Gosh.
I'm giving this a worse score than I thought I would have at the start of this. I'm giving this a 32.
All right. I gave it a surprising, even for myself, 59.
I gave it a 30.
My man.
Okay. Yep, it's kind of
who would have predicted that somebody would have given this a better score than me?
So that takes us...
I thought for sure it was going to go under 25, and then me and Dave were just going to have to stop.
Yeah, so that brings us to what I'm 100% certain will be the worst Metallica score thus far, at least unless there's a shocking moment on this podcast. It's a 46.5. So even still ekes out a recommend somehow.
Barely.
Adrian, talk about this misunderstood masterpiece.
All right. Hey, look. So you guys went on your Metallica origin story. So sit back, grab yourself a fucking drink, and strap in. We're going into my motherfucking Metallica origin story.
Do it.
Okay.
You're welcome, Adrian, by the way. You're welcome.
I think Dave thinks he has more to do with this than he actually does. But, I mean, okay, he does, but more towards the back half, and we'll get into that. So, in 2003, I was 16. My favorite band was probably Godsmack. Really into Slipknot and any other band that where the drummer was the fucking shit. I was playing drums at the time. In fact, I got into guitar trying to find drummers to play music with, which it just so happened to be around the time I started listening to Metallica. Anyway, so in my head at the time, 2003, Metallica, my exposure to them was Black Album, Load and Reload, and fucking not S&M, Garage Inc. Right? So in my head, all these people that worship Metallica, to them, the Metallica that they worshipped, or rather to me, was Inner Sandman, Sad But True, fucking Whiskey in a Jar, Until It Sleeps. Like, that is the band I thought Metallica not only was, but always was. And then the hype around this new album started. This new album where they're returning to form. It's thrash metal. It's balls to the wall. They're down tune / using 7-string guitars. And you know, there was no getting away from the exposure to this album on MTV. You couldn't put it on fucking MTV, and there not being them getting hype about Metallica's new album that's coming out. They did their Metallica Icon series, which only a few bands got that before they stopped doing that altogether. Aerosmith,
like 3 or 4, right?
Yeah. So there were bands that were playing like Korn and Limp Bizkit, and I was interested in hearing them play Metallica music. So I'm gonna watch this. So I watched
I went back and listened to the Korn one today for one, and it's still good.
I'll never forgive them for bitching out on the thrash part.
On the solo?
Yeah. What the fuck? Anyway, but hey, watching it at the time, I had no idea. Anyway, I watched the Icon series. I enjoyed it. It was fine. It was great. Metallica played at the end. Even Sum 41, their medley with Master of Puppets, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and
it was good.
It was great. It was great.
And Inner Sandman.
Inner Sandman, yeah. Anyway, when that ended, I watched it live, or it wasn't live, but I watched it as it aired. And when it finished, MTV played a block of Metallica music videos. And the video they started with was Frantic. And then after Frantic was One. I'd never heard One in my fucking life. Didn't know about it. Didn't know Metallica was ever this fucking band. And I watched One happen. And I mean, I'm just sitting there with my jaw open like the whole fucking time. Right? And so ultimately, if it wasn't for Saint Anger, I would have never gotten into Metallica at all. I bought this album. There was a time when I was 16 years old, and I uttered these words out loud to David. This is the best Metallica album of all time. Because not only did I get into Metallica, into Saint Anger because of, all that, but I decided, I'm going to listen to all their albums and whatever. And I got to Saint Anger. Just listened, didn't really give a fuck. Didn't really get into their stuff. I was just so balls to the wall into Saint Anger. I was into the fucking, how heavy it was, how fast it was, how fucking passionate James Hetfield's vocals were. And guess what? They'd never been this passionate ever, and they still haven't been this passionate to this fucking day. And the lyrics are fucking terrible. Yeah, well, at least he's not fucking singing about fucking headbanging and wearing leather. Anyway,
he's also not 18.
Look, the drums. I was a drummer at the time. If you think I didn't fucking stylize my drum set to sound just like fucking Lars, I got a fucking bridge to sell you, bro. I was all about that shit. So that being said,
did you actually have your snare turned off though, or did you keep it turned on?
Well, you can make it sound like that turned on, and that's what I did. Anyway, look, I uttered those words to David, and within a year, obviously, I was making fun of myself for uttering those words to David. Got into their older stuff. I remember when he put on Fight Fire with Fire for the first time, because David did show me the light. You're right, Dave. He showed me the light of what actual really good Metallica sounds like. Not just like heavy, fast Metallica, but like the cream of the crop shit. When he put on Fight Fire with Fire for the first time, obviously I was balls deep into Saint Anger. I couldn't fucking believe it. Like, holy fuck! Like, what have I been missing? Anyway, I said this earlier, Josh. Over the past decade, I've been pretty, pun intended, hardwired to just, on my random playlist, if a Saint Anger song comes on, just fucking skip it. This past week when I put Saint Anger on, dude, I've been jamming this fucking album nonstop. And yeah, maybe it's nostalgia. I don't give a fuck, dude. This album, Saint Anger, more like Saint fucking Banger. It is fantastic.
No, it's Saint Panger.
There is not,
drums.
Other than My World, I just don't like that song, man. Other than My World, there's not a song I'll ever skip again. There's not a song I'll ever.
Really? Okay, hold on a second. Well, My World's a good song, but what you're telling me that you would not skip Invisible Kid or Purify? Like you think those are good songs?
That's correct.
Yeesh.
Yes. Dude,
those are rough, man. Those are anytime I put together the worst Metallica songs, it goes Murder 1, Invisible Kid, Murder 1, Purify, Invisible Kid in that order.
I put Purify and Invisible Kid in the same ballpark as I put Korn, Papa Roach, fucking Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park. Just like it's just sing-alongable shit that is it's not inherently good, but goddamn, like it gets me fucking going, man. Like, what do you want from me? To pretend like it doesn't get me going? Because it fucking does.
Hey, dude, look, I'm right there with you, bro.
Passion.
Hey, look,
anyway.
let me just continue this love fest real quick, and then I'll let you guys shit on this album. But look, I think the thing for me is like this was the first Metallica album that I bought with my own money. The other two I got as gifts, right? So this is the first one where I remember going to Best Buy and buying it with my own money.
Same.
Like you said that about every album, man.
I bought this with my own money too.
No, Load was like the first one that I got that was like a new album that I got as a gift. Because I was 12 years old.
Get into your story.
Yeah, Fossil's going to tell his in a second. So I think for me, it's just nostalgia, right? I started playing guitar around this time as well. So it was like, these were songs that I could play on guitar. And so like part of me was like, holy shit, I could play Metallica songs on guitar. I'm fucking awesome. I'm really good.
Or the songs suck. Or the songs
suck, okay? But look, at the time, that wasn't how I felt, okay? At the time, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, Dirty Window, let's go. I can play the little fucking, clean part.
Open 5/7 or open 3/5, whatever it is.
It's open 3/5, and then you go 5 on the A, 6. Okay, anyway. But look, there was that. You got the DVD with the album, and so that was really cool. Like watching them play the songs as well, dude. I watched the fuck out of that DVD.
That DVD is better than the recorded performance.
I 100% I agree with that. Like I would go to the DVD more often than I would go to the CD itself.
Does Spotify even have does Spotify even have that DVD like in song form? I looked for it. I didn't see it.
I don't know. I mean, I would like to get hear that again because it's been a long time. I could probably just get it on YouTube, I guess. But it's been a long time since I've listened to that one because I mean I don't even own a DVD player or anything to put a CD into anymore. But like that was, I think, the thing for me. And I generally, to Adrian's point, like I was super into nu metal at the time, and so I really, really enjoyed the direction of the album at the time. Going back listening to it this last week. Look, I get it. I can't rate it as being one of the top flight Metallica albums because it's just not. It's fun. I love creating the argument, especially with Dave, around this being like one of the best albums. And I think there's moments where this is a really great album. But there are, I can't give this like a high-end score whenever two of the worst Metallica songs of all time are on the same album. So that's kind of where I'm at with it, but just super nostalgic for me, especially from like a guitar playing standpoint. Go ahead. Ruin the album. Talk shit about it.
Well, I'll
go ahead. No, actually, we ran out of time. We're gonna have to go on to the next album.
Nope, stop it. So real quick, I'll try to be quick, right? So, look, I'm in the same boat to a degree as Adrian and Josh. Like, look, like I said, I was a Metallica fan starting with Garage Inc. This album came out in 2003. I was in high school, and I ordered this shit online, and it got mailed to me. And I remember being super excited, dude. I was a big time Metallica apologist, defender. Like, dude, I used to tell everybody, like, oh, dude, Saint Anger it's so good. Like, Metallica just decided to write like current music and just dominate it. Like, they dominate everything. Dude, I spit that garbage for a very long time. Dude, and Adrian has seen me spit the garbage whenever we heard Cyanide for the first time, and I was talking about how that's the best Metallica song since the Black Album. Adrian has seen me spit that fucking Metallica simp garbage. And look, I was all in the Kool-Aid at this time, but I woke up at a certain point, and I realized, you know what? Maybe this album needed to be made for Metallica to not like disband. I look at this album as a therapy session that should have stayed behind closed doors. Personally, to a certain degree, I'm glad this album was made because I think it helped them progress and move past this, and ultimately, I think it got Bob Rock out of the picture, and I think that's been better for the band. But I can't forgive all of the problems with this record, with the lyrics that are clearly not written by James, because a lot of the lyrical content is really bad.
Not about leather enough.
The production, I get it. You know, Adrian's gonna stick to his guns as far as say it's like it's stylized. This was done this way. Great.
That's a fact of the matter.
Great. That's fine. They purposefully took a shit in the bed. That's good for them, man.
It's interesting though. Like I'm glad you bring up the production right there, because I was just thinking about that a second ago. It's just funny like how people listen to music differently, right? Like when I listen to Saint Anger, like even today, I don't hear it and think it's bad production. Like, and I don't know. I don't listen to albums and think that, right? Like I think we all have something that we maybe value over other things when we listen to albums. And like, I notice bad production in certain times, but there's just something about this where it was just never like somebody had to point out to me that the drums sounded like garbage cans. Because I didn't I don't listen to it for the drums. Like I'm not listening to it for that. So it just never never dinged to me.
And it's me and Adrian were talking about this pre-stream, is that like I can't listen to an album with bad lyrics and or bad vocals and like just go about my day and enjoy the songs. Like I can't just be like, man, this song has really good riffs. Yeah, but the vocals really suck and the lyrics are like Mickey Mouse lyrics, as Adrian is quoted to saying about this record. And I can't just forgive it for that. I mean, I won't go into examples, but like most of Saint Anger's songs are not written very well to me. They go on way too long. You literally can watch the Saint Anger movie and hear Kirk basically pleading to the band to not date this album to the time in which it was released, and they still kept this dude in a cage and didn't let him play solos, which is funny.
I don't think they stated it out. Like, what album sounds like Saint Anger? Like, name an album that sounds like Saint Anger from any band.
Well, it's hard because this album's really bad. So most albums aren't this bad. Well, and point is that it's funny because even live, Kirk, like they've let Kirk has injected solos into these songs when they play them live, because they need them because they're so fucking long and unnecessarily long at that point. Anyway, look, it is what it is. I'm not going to try to sit here with rose-colored glasses and say that this album is very good, even though at one time it was good for me. And like I said, it probably needed to be made anyway, but like Lars's dad said, I would have just, deleted that.
All right,
Fossil, tell your story.
People for the podcast that's listened to this before, I'm not going to go through the whole story, but I bought this CD with my own money.
Go through the whole story, bro.
And I ended up just throwing this fucking CD right out the window before I even met it at home. I've tried to rationalize this because it's not just me saying something to be funny or stupid. I actually did that. Hindsight being what it is, it was an overreaction, probably. I was trying to figure out, like, okay, so what was the purpose? And I think it's because I was expecting to what Adrian said. You had some hype coming from Saint Anger. That
return to form.
I was slightly disappointed with Load and Reload. There's hits and misses, and when you're in my situation, you're just used to like fucking amazing shit, like what we had in the first 5 albums, even Kill 'Em All. Anyway. So when I got this one, the first thing I noticed is the panging. You might as well just I couldn't stand it to begin with, and it's on almost every song on here. the way that the drums sound.
It's not almost every song. It's every song.
Okay. Some of it seems like it's more pronounced than others. Now, again, was it overreaction? Maybe. When we came around here and did the bracket last year, on there was
The Unnamed Feeling.
Unnamed Feeling. And to my surprise, I was like, holy shit, what is this song and what album is it on? And I looked down and I was like, Saint Anger. And I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. There's a song on this album that I actually really like. Anyway, so I hadn't listened to this album start to finish in its entirety since I threw the CD out the window. So
Almost 20 years.
Yeah, so I was like, here's the thing. I'm much older now, and the band was much older when they released this record than when they released all the shit that I really loved. I was kind of interested in going back into this and saying, okay, so maybe I'm in a different state. Maybe I'm ready for this album now. I'm not. I still think it's not very good, but this was hands down, by far, without a doubt, the most difficult album that I've had to review in any of the albums that were reviewed, and especially with Metallica, because I write down a score and I listen to the song again. The score changes. It goes up. It goes down. It goes up. It goes way up. And then it's like, oh, no, that's a good part. And then I like that part. And then I write it again. I had a lot of hard issues with 30 window. At one point, it was as low as a 30, all the way up to a 55. Invisible Kid, it started off in the 60s, ended up in the 80s.
Never see what he did.
Got stuck where he hid.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, falling through the grid.
Yeah, and so the title track, Saint Anger. I ended up texting you guys. It's like, is this a good song or a great song? And ultimately, I think it's a great song. This album, like I said, I gave it a 59, but it is literally carried by 3 songs, in my opinion. That's Saint Anger, Sweet Amber, and Unnamed Feeling. The rest of it, I will never listen to any of these other songs again.
I do actually agree that those are probably the best 3 songs on the record. And without those, I think Unnamed Feeling is a couple of changes away from being legitimately just a straight up great song.
It's mostly just the rant that I can't stand it.
That rant at the end is cringe as fuck, but
that's the best part. It's the best part.
Yeah, sure it is.
It is.
That song.
That song?
This song would be in my top 10 if it wasn't for the rant.
Oh, fuck off. Literally, dude, I'm so hard over here thinking about that rant. I'm getting stuck in my desk right now. Okay?
Josh, just get the fuck out of here, okay? Get the fuck away from me.
See what I mean? See how good that felt?
Here's my criticism of the album. There are songs that are just too long, that don't need to be that long. Sure. I mean, they literally don't need to be long, more than 5 minutes long. And there's in Frantic's a great example. They have several songs where it seems like they have sections made specifically for guitar solos where they just don't do them.
Yeah,
and it's almost like you can tell there was meant to be a guitar solo there. They just opted not to do it, for whatever fucking reason.
Frantic had 3 or 4 spots it could have ended. I had it from a 38 to a 59. That's how far the range went. I couldn't decide on Frantic.
I think buried somewhere, there is a good version of this album somewhere. If they ever decided to get bored before they got too old to play their instruments anymore, and just for the studio, just wanted to fix this album, they could, and it would be very good.
What do you mean? What do you mean fix?
Do better production, tighten up the songs, put solos where they should go, have James basically fucking take the lyrics, take the lyrics and fucking just slam dunk them into the dumpster and rewrite them.
I don't like anything you're saying.
All right.
Except for Unnamed Feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something missing from all of these songs. I don't know. Maybe it's guitar solos. I don't know. Like I personally don't think guitar solos are what's missing. Like I don't care. There's great music without guitar solos everywhere. A good example is Lover Man, a cover they did, and it's fantastic. There's not a single guitar solo in that.
Absolutely.
I meant to bring this up when I Disappear came on, but there was a day where I jammed Kill 'Em All twice. And I Disappear came on after it ended the second time, and it's like, wow, it's weird that that I Disappear is the best Metallica song I've heard all day, but it was, and guess what? There's no guitar solo in I Disappear.
That's actually sort of incorrect.
Yeah, there's like there's a lead part in it.
Lead is not a solo, guys. Come on. I mean, are you going to really try to argue what a lead versus a solo is with the guitar?
Also, little known fact that we didn't bring up, the drum pang sound started on I Disappear. If you go back and re-listen to that song, it's there.
Yeah. Also, the drum pang sound. There's some songs, Josh, actually, where the snare is engaged and where it's not engaged. So I think the ones where it's prominent that Jason's saying is where it's disengaged. And those are where it just doesn't sound that good. But yeah, anyway.
It's an extremely pronounced sound
it sounds like it's singing to me.
Oh man,
sounds beautiful.
On some of those songs, it's all I hear, just pang, 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 pang.
Yeah, it's a headache.
Next album. Let's get off of Saint Anger, Saint Anguish, Saint Panger.
Saint Banger.
Anger.
All right, so 5 long years later, we arrive in the year 2008, and we get Death Magnetic. This album also peaked at number 1 on the Billboard. Metallica becomes the first band to achieve 5 consecutive studio albums debuting at number 1 on the Billboard chart. This album was seen as a return to form for the band, back using standard tuning, guitar solos, and more complex compositions. This was the first album to officially feature Rob Trujillo on bass. This was also the first and only album to feature Rick Rubin as the producer. The album produced 3 singles, The Day That Never Comes, All Nightmare Long, and Broken, Beaten, Scarred. All right. This album was nominated for 6 Grammy Awards. Okay? So, they win the Grammy in 2009 for Best Metal Performance for the song My Apocalypse. They win a Grammy for something I'd never heard of before, Best Recording Package. So I'm guessing just like everything included with the album.
Okay.
They were nominated for Best Rock Album, but they lost to Coldplay that year. They were nominated for Best Rock Instrumental for Suicide and Redemption, but they lost to a group called Zappa Plays Zappa.
Wow.
And then they were nominated for Best Hard Rock Performance in 2010 for the song Unforgiven 3, but they lost to AC/DC. Now, I skipped one in particular because I know this is going to come up here in a minute, but they did win the Grammy in 2009. Not they, but the album kind of did, for Producer of the Year, which was Rick Rubin. I know that's going to come up here in a minute, so I just wanted to lay that out there. Let's give our shit-o-meter scores, and then I want to hear Dave go first, because I want to hear Dave talk about Rick Rubin here.
Okay.
So I'll give my shit-o-meter score first, so Dave can go last, because I just want to hear him talk about this first. So I'll give my shit-o-meter score. Look, for a long time, I thought this was my least favorite Metallica album. I'm giving this a better score than some other Metallica albums out there. I'm giving this a 33.
You want to go next, Adrian?
Sure. Okay. Just for reference, I gave Saint Anger a 30. I'm giving Death Magnetic at 35.
Okay.
All right. I've been a fan of Death Magnetic since it came out. I like a lot of the songs on here, and when I went back and re-listened to this, I actually liked some of the songs even more than I remembered. I gave the 23.
Had that moment.
Oh wait, you said a 23?
23.
All right.
What song?
What?
No.
What song?
No, the album. He gave the album a 23.
Oh, okay, right on.
And I'm coming in at a 19. I'll just talk about everything here. So, I also, like Josh, I have stated at one point or another in my life, or since Death Magnetic has come out, that Death Magnetic basically was not very good, and probably a lot of the things that Adrian's going to say here at some point about how
the album they released in 2008.
Yeah, the album that they released in 2008 just didn't work for me after the initial hype wear off, and that is true. So in 2015, let me back up a little bit. So the production on this album, as it was released in 2008, if you bought it back then, or if you listen today specifically on Spotify, the production of the album is subpar. And it's not subpar in the same sense that Saint Anger is purposefully recorded for style purposes. This is just produced badly. It's over, like the drums, everything is just overly loud, and there's a lot of clipping in the sound of the album. And basically Rick Rubin is like an absentee producer. He showed up like once a week and basically just kind of gave his 2 cents, and then Greg Fiddleman did most of the dirty work for him, and subsequently ended up being the producer of Hardwired, probably because of that. So in 2015, as part of Metallica's efforts to get their albums, their discography put on all the digital platforms, they went to iTunes or in order to upload all of their stuff there, and in so doing, they quietly put out a kind of a remixed version of Death Magnetic, and it's specifically like an Apple Music certified version. That is all. What's that?
I'm just gonna interject right quick. Did you know how they got that?
No, I don't.
They got it from Metallica's Guitar Hero.
No, that's actually you're combining two different stories. So,
are you sure he's combining two different stories?
Yes, I'm 100% sure. The version that's on iTunes is not a Guitar Hero thing. Those were fans that did it after Death Magnetic came out. So
fans, Guitar Hero. It was those guys.
Anyway, so. And that's also the same version. The version that's on iTunes is also the same version if you buy Death Magnetic from Metallica.com, like today, buy it digitally or whatever. That's the version you get. So that's the version I listened to, since it's what's officially from Metallica. That's the version I listened to, and I'm sure that played a part in my enjoyment of this. But in revisiting Death Magnetic, because it's been a long time since I've heard it all the way through. And look, I will admit. I was coming off of Load, Reload, S&M, Saint Anger, and I don't rate those. I haven't rated those favorably, and so maybe for me this was a breath of fresh air. But dude, I think Death Magnetic is. I'm gonna say it. It is a modern metal masterpiece. I don't think that it has any true skippers for me. Although, like I said, not every song is an actual masterpiece. I'm not crazy, but. I don't think it has any skippers. This is the shortest album up to this point in a while, with only 10 songs, so it's a lot leaner in that sense. The songs, again, they let Kirk back in the fold here. And dude,
man, there's some fucking killers on here from Kirk.
Kirk comes with some vengeance here on a lot of these songs. And man, dude, and James is back to writing the lyrics fully, and it fucking shows. And yeah, dude, I know Adrian's gonna talk shit about it, but definitely. But it is what it is. I love this album. I think it's fantastic. Well, it's because you're dumb. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I think it's a great album.
Just in a month from now, just so you know. You and I are going to get pissed at each other because I'm going to be right about you having not revisited this album. But anyway,
then you're not going to you're not going to be listening to Saint Anger anymore. I will.
How much do you want to bet I will?
Hey, look, man, that's fine.
All right.
You can listen to an inferior record all you want.
Oh, I will.
We're gonna be doing that whenever Death comes up on the top 50 list.
Oh my god!
Look, that's the one band that me and Adrian will probably we'll fight you guys on for sure.
Okay, so who wants to pop off on this? Because I have plenty to say.
No,
I never read the aggregate. Did I? I think it's 27.5.
Okay.
The best album since the Black Album. I'm sorry, I just had to add that.
I think for me for a long time, I just this album has a couple of songs on it that I'm not a big fan of. My Apocalypse is definitely in my top 10 worst Metallica songs. Suicide Redemption, not a great song. And then no, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like the opening tracks. Like I do enjoy Kirk Hammett's guitar solo in both the opening songs. But for me,
the two opening songs were my least, lowest rated songs. That and Cyanide.
Yeah, for me, this is like the middle of the album is really where the money's at. Broken, Beaten, Scarred, Day That Never Comes, All Nightmare Long, and in particular, why am I blanking on it right now? The 8th song,
Judas Kiss.
Yeah, Judas Kiss. In particular, that song.
I think that song is super underappreciated, by the way.
I agree, and it's a song I've been sleeping on because I even forgot it was on the album.
Me too.
Pre going back and listening to it because I was just like, "What is the 8th song on this album?" And I'm sitting here thinking before I got there, I was like, "Oh shit," And going back and listening to it, like really really good song. So for me, the middle of the album is really what saves it, and then obviously I think Unforgiven 3 is. I don't think you can dispute that that's the best song on the album.
I agree.
Maybe you can argue that, but I think you'd be wrong if you did.
I have a question. You guys listen to a lot more music than I do, and I brought this up to Dave when we were talking on the phone. Has there ever been a band that has reimagined one of their own songs in such a way where Metallica has done with Unforgiven? This is the third version. This is the least similar, I would say, to the original. But I mean, to this scale, like usually if somebody reimagines a song, is it ever just as good?
Oh, these aren't just as good though. These are actually better. Like Unforgiven 2 is definitely better than Unforgiven 1, and 3 is the best of the 3 for sure.
Well, see, I have Unforgiven 2, 1, then 3. But I mean, they're all like right there.
Calling it now, Unforgiven 4 is going to be on the upcoming album. I mean, look at it.
I welcome it with open arms if it keeps getting better every time.
Look at it. It's been since Black Album. Unforgiven has been on every other Metallica album. Calling it Unforgiven. We're getting Unforgiven 4 next album.
I'm gonna take my money. I'm gonna put it in my veins.
What if I'm gonna call this? It's gonna be called Unforgivable.
What?
Because they're gonna.
Why wouldn't it just be called Unforgiven 4?
Unforgiven 4.
Nope, they're not gonna do it.
Okay, it's weird and random, but okay.
I'm just saying.
I genuinely, I really did enjoy coming back to this album. I probably listened to this one the most during this time.
I did too,
and
by far.
Just because, it's the one I've revisited the least over the years, and look, it'll certainly stay in the rotation for me for sure.
Well, so before we wrap this one up, I'm going to throw this out there. If you're a Metallica fan and you haven't listened to the iTunes mix of this, do yourself a favor and do that, because it's fantastic. I mean, it elevates the album very, very much, like a lot. Unfortunately, my score is reflected by the version that I listened to when it leaked, and the version that's currently on Spotify.
What would you just for? I'm not going to count it. I'm just saying for posterity. Like, what would you rate it? What would you rate the iTunes version off?
I don't know. So, but I'll tell you, before this past 2 weeks, the only version of this album I ever listened to was the Guitar Hero version, mixed by guys who the Guitar Hero team, who did a better job than the fucking producer did. which obviously that hurts to me. It hurts my score of the album. That some fucking virgins making Guitar Hero mixed it better than fucking the.
How do you know they're virgins?
The great, I mean, come on, man. Anyway, the great Rick Rubin. I mean, like, why? Like, how does that happen? How the fuck does that happen? Anyway, Metallica quietly released a remaster, or a remix, and whatever, and it sounds good, man. But that's not the score that I'm reflected. That's reflected for me. The score that's reflecting for me is what's on Spotify now, and it's not good. I mean, it's fine, but the worst part of the version that's on Spotify now is the production. Also, I would like to put out there that their transitions, their accenting, the way they finish songs, it's never been worse than on this album. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. The example that comes to mind immediately is how they end The Day That Never Comes. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And
I think that's
not that we ever did as a band, but they definitely did. That they're an established, a fantastic, great fucking band that released those fucking 5. I'm doing this because Kill 'Em All is part of that 5. They released 5 great albums, and obviously they know how to fucking finish music because they've done it on studio recordings. And then we get Saint Anger and this album where they just don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to transition. They don't know how to finish songs, and it's just. I feel like this is the worst album as far as that goes. Transitioning and music.
So here's my argument with that. It's not an argument. I mean, I agree with you. So here's kind of how I equate that, right? They haven't written, up to this point, they hadn't written thrash metal since 1988. Okay? If you want to call Saint Anger thrash metal or whatever, they haven't written aggressive music since 88.
It never stopped playing it, though.
Oh, are we talking about live?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about writing new music like this, right? So they were completely like not used to it. They didn't know what they were doing. I agree with you. Some of the endings are suspect, and they just had to get back into the swing of things because they had a producer that pushed them so far in the opposite direction for so long, and that didn't reel them back into what made them who they were. And look, say what you want about Rick Rubin, but he force-fed them Master of Puppets throughout the entire writing process and forced them to get back into writing. And I'm not comparing this to Master of Puppets, but he forced them to start thinking like Metallica again. And
the goal always was to be that band again. So even if
I disagree. I don't think Bob Rock was ever trying to get them to be Metallica again. I think it's the opposite.
I'm talking about Metallica. The goal going into this album was being Metallica again.
Yes.
Well, yes, that was the goal, which is why they got rid of Bob Rock and they got somebody else. But what I'm saying is that
it has been a while. They've been out of practice.
Yeah, correct.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Next album.
Well, I'm trying to think if I have anything else to say on this. Look. I don't obviously I don't hate this album. I gave it 35, right? I don't hate this album, but I have problems with it, and that honestly, I feel like there's Beyond Magnetic. And before we move on, let's talk about Beyond Magnetic.
I feel like can we not?
Can we?
No, that is 4 of the worst songs Metallica's ever written. Thank God they had.
When was the last time you heard those, Josh? Be honest.
This week.
Did you actually?
Yes.
He was telling me earlier before y'all jumped on. He was jamming them. Look, Suicide and Redemption is one of their worst songs.
I disagree.
I'll fucking take anything over that. And yeah, Dave, we were talking about that earlier.
It's better than Orion.
What about the first 3 or 4 minutes? What about after the first 3 or 4 minutes? Dude, yeah, that part's cool, but they fucking find themselves back to that fucking riff from the first 3 or 4 minutes, and it's another 2 or 3 minutes of it at the end, and you get 2 minutes of good music, and hey, that's fine, but you get fucking 6 minutes of fucking like, come on, man, get out of here with that fucking garbage, please. Fuck. It's an embarrassing fucking
coming from a guy who just like sucked on the teat of Saint Anger. It just seems weird that you just
yeah. So, if you're gonna pretend that anything from Saint Anger is,
I'd rather listen to Suicide and Redemption. Like 11, however many songs are on Saint Anger. I'd rather listen to that 11 times than listen to Saint Anger again.
All right, yeah, doubt it. Anyway. Don't believe you even a little bit, but I mean, if it makes you feel better saying it, go for it. Say it again.
I would rather. No, I don't want to say it because I don't want to get our YouTube blocked. Never mind.
Here we go. We move on to the last album here on our list. Oddly enough, this is the best album to come out in the year 2016.
That's super incorrect.
It came out that year.
For All Kings came out this year.
Yeah, I know. This album is called Hardwired to Self-Destruct. It came out in 2016. This album peaked at number 1 on the Billboard charts. With this album, they become only the second band to have 6 albums debut at number 1, joining the Dave Matthews Band. We see a very long gap here in between albums. This is 8 years between Death Magnetic and Hardwired coming out.
Hey guys, it's been 8 years since this album came out. Are we getting new Metallica this year?
6 years. It's been 6 years, Dave.
Well, I can't do math.
Math is tough.
Math is hard.
Yeah. So this album has generally been pretty well received by fans and critics. Stylistically, it feels like it belongs somewhere between the Black Album and Load and Reload. The album is the only one not to feature any songwriting credits from Kirk Hammett. He lost his phone that had all of his riff ideas on it.
And so they didn't let him do shit except play solos.
Yeah, Trujillo does have a writing credit on here on Man on Kind. The album produced 5 singles: Hardwired, Moth in the Flame, Atlas Rise, Now That We're Dead, and Spit Out the Bone.
Did they make a music video for all the songs?
All of them. Yeah, every song. Yeah. Atlas Rise was nominated for a Grammy for Best Rock Song, but they lost to the Foo Fighters.
It's not even a rock. It's not even the same fucking genre, man.
Yeah, I know. All right. Shit on your scores.
Song? Do you have that?
Yeah, it's a song called Run, which is a great song by them.
All right. I'll go first. I came in at a 24. Somebody?
I plan on going last.
Adrian,
40.
go.
40.
Jesus. I thought you would do better than that.
All right. This is a very solid, borderline great album. I gave it a 24.
Damn, we got the same score. Look at that.
Yeah.
I gave this album a 19.
There you go.
I think this is one better than Super Collider.
You guys are just like all in that cope with this album.
Yeah. So look, it was 8 years in between Metallica albums, so a long time to pent up and be edged by Metallica here. But finally it came out. I remember I was in the drive-thru at Taco Bell, and I heard
restaurant ever.
That's right. And it came on the radio that Metallica had just dropped a new song, and I immediately called Dave, and I was like, Dave, what the fuck are you doing?
So to clarify, Josh and I were working at the same retail location at the time.
Yeah. So I called Dave immediately. He was at home. I couldn't believe he answered the phone. And I was like, I looked at the song length. I'm like, Dave, you got 4.5 minutes. Listen to the song and call me back immediately.
Actually, I was at work at the time, and it was Hardwired. It was the title track.
Yeah, it was Hardwired.
It's the least favorite song on there.
Well, wherever you were. Anyway, we fucking jammed it out, and we called each other back, and we fucking giggled like little girls, and I mean, it was the greatest thing to ever happen. Well, then
we also, the first time we both listened to this album was together.
Yeah, so then we crammed ourselves into Dave's whatever Dave's car was at
Ford
the time.
Ford Fiesta,
and into Dave's Ford Fiesta. So we were two guys sitting in his driveway.
What'd you say?
What?
You didn't even whip out the Ford Escape for this event?
No, my Fiesta had better audio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were just two guys sitting in Dave's car in his driveway, just listening to this whole album, and I mean, just song after song, we're listening to this, and we were just fucking laughing our asses off, and and jamming every song
except for Murder One.
And then we got to Murder One, and it was one of those things where it's like, you know, like, look, we've listened to some songs where the first time we've listened to them, we're like, dude, this is fucking great, and then over the years we're like, maybe it's not that good. This is one of the first times I can remember, maybe it's the only time I can remember, where me and Dave both start off listening to a song, we both look at each other and we're like, oh fuck, this is terrible. That song "Murder One" is absolutely the worst Metallica song ever written.
Josh, look at my camera.
Oh, hold on a second. I'm coming. There it is.
That is a picture we took in the moment.
Yeah,
I don't know why
that shirt there.
Yeah, but yeah, that was when was this? Yeah, November 13th,
2016.
November 13th, 2016. Yep.
Yeah, we listened to it a week before it officially released.
How did that happen, Dave?
How did do that?
The internet.
Napster.
What about the internet, guys? Spill it.
Anyway, Josh, keep telling your story.
Yeah. So anyway, but we instantly loved the album, and for me, I know Dave has wavered somewhat over the years on this album. I still contend that this is definitely one of my favorite Metallica albums. This is kind of the sweet spot for me on Metallica, where, it's not necessarily like super thrashy. I mean, there are moments of that, specifically in Spit Out the Bone, obviously. But just like it's that really good mid-tempo section, but it's not quite like the southern hard rock of Load, and it's something that's not quite Black Album. So it just kind of felt like the lost album between those two for me, and I've always enjoyed the songs. I thought James sounded really, really good vocally on these songs, especially like Halo on Fire, I think is like a super good standout for him vocally.
Yeah.
And then obviously I think Spit Out the Bone,
where he has a serious delay and chorus on his voice. Is that the song you're talking about?
It is.
Oh, okay.
I'm with you. Hey, look, I had no problem before, bro. And then obviously you get Spit Out the Bone, which I think is a true return to form for Metallica, and probably the best original Metallica song, whatever you want to call it. Definitely the best thing to come out from Metallica in terms of that style since Justice, for sure.
Yeah, just for clarity, I don't think I said it this time either. 26.75. So this just beats out Death Magnetic. So
that's I have both of these albums, the last two albums, very close. I think for me, the great songs on Death Magnetic are a little bit better than the great songs on Hardwired, and that's the only difference.
Yeah,
and I'll say this, full disclosure, it wasn't until today that I came around and Spit Out the Bone.
Yeah, explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old. How does it take you this long to come around on a song that is absolutely from day one the top tier quality that is Spit Out the Bone? There's never been a moment where that hasn't been like a fucking single digit scored song from Metallica.
I'll explain that to you after Jason goes, Josh.
I don't know.
I already know Adrian doesn't like the song.
Okay, see, for me, I can't explain it because like the same thing is with Hardwired. Like I don't think Hardwired is a terrible song. I just don't like it, and I don't know. I just don't.
Look, Hardwired criticism is definitely welcome. It's not it's not a great song.
Now, Spit Out the Bone, for whatever reasons, when I first got the album, was just maybe I'm too old. Maybe time had passed me by. Maybe I just wasn't ready for that. I don't know. But I listened to it today like 2 or 3 times, I guess, on the way home. And there's a middle section to that song that for me is like the best material on this album. But I just don't particularly care for some of the beginning and some of the end. But Spit Out the Bone was my third or fourth favorite song on this album.
So basically, the beginning and the end are the only good parts of Spit Out the Bone for me.
Like the midsection.
Once you get into the bridge, it just becomes this unwelcome, overextended piece of shit, and it's just
that's incorrect. That's 100% incorrect.
Like they whip out arguably the best riff they've whipped out since Injustice with "Spit Out the Bone," and then they shit the bed with the fucking bridge of this song.
How do they shit the bed with it? How? Give me a detailed explanation on how they shit the bed with it.
Exactly how.
Please tell me.
Once before we get to the second chorus, I'm already skipping the song. I'm already changing it because we're done with anything good. I'm not willing to sit through that fucking bridge to get back to the good parts of the song, which in the song.
So I guess you don't like the solo then?
But look, here's the thing is, all the parts are good parts.
Yeah, except I'm not. Like my dick doesn't stay hard for that one riff that's good in the song. Sorry, it does for y'all, but it doesn't for me. And I guess I get criticism for Adrian likes songs because there's like a good riff. No. That isn't the case with this fucking song. Like, y'all aren't gonna fucking.
Is it because there's too many good riffs? Is it just like riff overload, and you're like, dude, I just can't handle this many good riffs?
There's only one good riff on the song, and they ruin it by shitting the bed with the bridge and the solo. Like, why would they not do the solo over that riff? Like, what are y'all? I mean, like, how fucking stupid are you? I know y'all shit the bed with the last few releases, but. How stupid could you be not fucking doing a solo over that riff?
I don't know.
The last few releases, are you counting Saint Anger in that, which you gave a really good score?
That's correct. Well, 30 is an okay score. And they don't do solos on anything in that album. So, you know, dude, I don't know if it counts.
I think Spit Out the Bone is objectively like had Spit Out the Bone been recorded on And Justice for All, you could cut a song from And Justice for All and put Spit Out the Bone.
Yeah,
and Adrian would love it if it came out on Justice.
As long as they had omitted the bridge, then yeah, I agree.
No, that I disagree.
If it came out on Justice, Adrian, you'd be like, "Oh, it's the greatest song in the history of time."
You mean just like fucking Harvester, which is on my top worst songs of all time? Yeah, I don't think.
Hey, look!
It shows that you're a moron.
Hey, Adrian, you know what?
Harvester is better than one.
No, it's not.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think.
No, Adrian, look, we haven't agreed a lot tonight.
You're the fucking Duke the Dumpster Drosy of fucking metal takes.
We haven't agreed on everything tonight, but Adrian, I'm glad you hate on Harvester because I fucking ever since that night, dude, I did not even listen to that song when I was listening to Injustice for All. Just a small peek there. I purposely skipped it.
There's 3 skippers on Injustice for All, and that is Eye of the Beholder. I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry. I realized I liked Freighten's Insanity. So there's 2 skippers: fucking Harvester of Sorrow and Eye of the Beholder. I don't care how fucking cool that opening riff sounds. The rest of the song is fucking lame. It's boring as fuck.
Hot take: the only reason Harvester of Sorrow gets any play is because Jason Newsted killed that song live when he did backup vocals for it.
Like Jason Newsted tends to do.
Yeah. Language of the man.
You mean the bass player for this fucking phony ass Van Halen?
I'm gonna come out and say this: Creeping Death live has not been the same since Jason left the band.
It's only been better.
No, because when he used to come in at that last part, so let it be written, so let it be done, dude. I mean, anyway,
he never did that. That was always James.
Bro, don't be stupid at all.
Dude, it should be Jason, man. Like, I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck about Robert Trujillo. He just exists.
I actually 100% agree with Adrian. Robert Trujillo has just kind of existed for me as Metallica's bass player. But Jason Newsted,
he hasn't stood out at all. Not live. Okay, yeah, he does he fucking swings his ponytail around, does this. I don't give a fuck.
The dude is a
terror. Have y'all noticed that Adrian's beer over there has not gone down? Like, every time he takes a drink, he takes a full can and fills it right back up. Like, he has not gotten halfway down that beer yet.
But like Robert Trujillo, has he's not a good backup vocalist. He just exists to me.
I will say he's a better backup vocalist than Kirk. When
Dude,
I watched that
for sure.
When I watched Kirk do Frantic with James, oh dude, it was bad. I think that was the MTV Music Awards or Movie Awards.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was around the time Saint Anger came out, and it was fucking Kirk doing the "You live in a lion, you live in a lie." Oh, dude, it's embarrassing. Oh,
yeah, it's not good. That we can agree on.
All right, so that's it. Let me. Are you guys ready to hear what your ratings are for Metallica as a whole?
Yes. Hey, wait. Are we gonna talk about the other bands or like?
Yeah, we will. We'll get there. Hold on. Let's finish up Metallica.
Just making sure we don't. Yeah.
Okay, so Adrian, you are coming in with Metallica at a 30.42. Josh, predictably. Also, I should add, Adrian, that is the worst. That is the worst average of the four of us in terms of Metallica.
Oh, okay.
Josh, predictably, you have the best, or you're rating them the highest. 19.92.
Triple, bro.
I'm at look. I mean, that's honestly higher than what I thought Josh was going to have. So, I'm at a 29.08. So, although Adrian and I tend to disagree all the time, we are within basically a point of each other.
Basically, right there.
And then Jason, as always, kind of dead in the middle, 26.92. So that
realist here.
And look, hey, to be fair, that brings Metallica's average to a 26.58. So Jason is the closest to that.
Biggity blam.
If you're taking score, Metallica completely obliterates the Big Four competition, and it's actually not even close. Let's revisit these. So Megadeth, which, again, disclaimer, does not include Jason. He was not a part of that journey. Megadeth, 38.27. They come in at number 2. Then you have Slayer, 41.23. They get third place. And coming in the rear is Anthrax, almost a full 20 points behind Metallica. Oh man, coming in at a 44.55. Look.
Wait, what was Metallica's aggregate?
26.58. Okay. So Metallica just pretty much obliterates the competition. They literally don't have an album that we don't recommend. So not a single one was 50 plus. So the closest we got was Saint Anger. And look, Jason can attest to this. I literally told Jason, I said, Jason, I know what's going to happen. You and I are going to give these not recommends, but Josh and Adrian are going to give some ridiculous scores that are going to save it from the depths of being not recommended. And that's exactly what happened.
I wouldn't say a 32 and a 30 are ridiculous scores for that.
I would, seeing as how I gave double the score of that.
Look, even Adrian's dog is rolling his fucking eyes at you. Do you see that?
Yeah. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. They're stupid. They're stupid, girl.
Hold on. Hey, factoid time. Just hold on. Factoid time. So, Josh, your worst scored album is State of Euphoria from Anthrax. 96.
Yeah.
96. Just edging out Risk, which you gave a 95.
Damn.
Dang.
So
God, dude, come on, bro.
You guys want to give those albums those scores, and then you give Saint Anger what you gave it.
You can't tell me Saint Anger is not better than State of Euphoria. What'd you give State of Euphoria, Dave?
I gave State of Euphoria a 91. So yeah, I know I can't say that.
Oh, okay.
No,
Wait. Okay, so now hold on, man. Hold on. Now, full disclaimer. Dave wanted to score Saint Anger even higher, but he felt like he was.
Yeah. So now that we've dust is settled, my original From the Heart because that's how everyone but Jason, we just kind of score it how we feel, right? Just what score sounds good, right? And my original score for Saint Anger was an 85. Okay, that was my original score because that's how the album makes me feel. Now, because I felt like I was really being very biased in my score, and I really just wanted to nuke this album from orbit. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pull a Jason, and I'm just gonna review it song by song, and ultimately that's where I came to a 65. So the album got a 20-point bump because I reconsidered. I didn't nuke it from orbit like Josh did with Risk and with State of Euphoria, where he just was like, you know what? I'm not going to go 100, but I'm going as close as I can and get away with it.
Yeah, let's go back and let's take a look at Breadline, okay? And you tell me that shit don't deserve.
Hold on. Let's stay on course here. So, Adrian, album that you nuked from orbit with no vengeance is Stomp 442. You gave that a 95. That seems to be kind of the threshold where you just want to completely disgrace an album. That's like tipping your waiter like a penny. Like you want him to know that you thought about that. Jason, I'm kind of proud of you here. You really didn't nuke any album from orbit. You were pretty honest, and I feel like that's probably in part to how you came up with your score. You were the most kind of methodical with your scores, where you individually rated each song, and you kind of let the strong songs carry or the weak songs carry, depending on the situation. Your worst score is Among the Living at a 64, with Saint Anger being the second worst at a 59.
That sounds about right.
So
I would rather listen to Saint Anger.
Yeah. Yeah. So just some interesting factoids there.
Dave, what was your worst score?
Oh, State of Euphoria, 91. Let me make sure I don't have anything else that's that bad. No, I even gave Risk a 78. I'm not a psycho.
What did I give Risk? 51?
Yeah, 51.
I never remember that. Oh, it's probably because my brain is fucking huge.
You gave System Has Failed an 85, which is
what it deserves.
No, it doesn't.
No, definitely not what it deserves.
It sounds like that guy you sent me who did Saint Anger, and it was fucking terrible. That's what System Has Failed sound like.
So just finishing up here on the Big Four, going through some final thoughts here on the journey. I think we succeeded.
I agree.
49 albums, guys. 49 albums.
Wow, I did not go back and quantify that. That is that's impressive to digest. Really, it was 12 Metallica albums, right? So take those out. So we're talking about 37 albums that maybe between a couple of us had heard before, but in reality, it's 37 new albums for us.
Yeah.
That we just digested in, when did we start this? Like 6 months ago, 5 months ago?
September of last year. Jason, you're at 34. You've jammed 34 new albums with us. We, the three of us, David Disaster, are you still, you're the Human Door.
Human Door.
Yeah. Okay, all right on. Well, Adrian Aftershock, we're at 49 albums, which, guys, to me, that was the whole point of doing this, is to broaden my motherfucking horizons. And within the last, 7 months, 8 months, we've done fucking 49 albums. Holy shit.
I would
did
say,
anybody here, did you think, I'm sorry, Dave, 1 sec. Did you think that with Megadeth and Anthrax getting ready, Megadeth more imminently, but Anthrax probably coming out with a new album, did you think you'd ever be sitting here saying, man, I can't wait for those albums to come out?
Nope. No. Just as we've said in previous parts, I came in as a Metallica truther to a big degree, and especially growing up, right? And so I slept on all three of these other bands, especially Anthrax. I dabbled in Slayer. I basically cherry picked what I was told were the best albums. So I bought Rain and Blood, I bought Rust in Peace. And I was like, I bought what was supposed to be their best album, and then I was like, okay, this isn't as good as Metallica. I'm done. That was essentially what happened with my 16-year-old brain. If the best of the best, in my head I was like, well, Metallica is his master of puppets, and these are nowhere near that. And this is supposed to be their best. I'm not wasting my time. Okay, I have other things to do. I was dumb. I was super dumb. I would say out of the three other bands, like conservatively, just off the top of my head, like I'm not gonna look at the list and take all that time, but I've probably added at least somewhere between 7 and 10 records, like that are really, really good, rock solid records, like to my regular rotation.
I probably added, I don't know, 25 to 30 Megadeth songs to my overall playlist, and like they'll come on now, and I'm like, oh, not only do I not skip, I stop and I crank it up. Like when I get to Fight for Freedom,
Tornado
Killing Road, Tornado. Anything from Rust in Peace. And then a lot of the good songs from fucking Super Collider, man. Like fucking, I think it's On the Edge or Off the Edge or something like that. I heard that one came on my playlist the other day. I was like, fuck, man, these are fucking great songs. And I hate Dave Mustaine.
Dude,
these are great songs.
You went to see Megadeth live in concert.
I know. Who'd have thought that?
By the way, weren't we supposed to see them yesterday? Like, what happened? What happened, guys? What happened? We were literally supposed to be in Corpus and watch them play yesterday. What happened?
We're gonna go see them. We're gonna go see them with a good band in September.
Which band is that? There's
Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh no, that's not the good band. What's the one playing after Megadeth?
I don't know. Five Finger Death Punch.
Look, so let me rephrase. I've heard some Five Finger Death Punch, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've had this conversation with David. I am very selective with what I lit in, and if it's like pop bullshit and it's metal, not happening. Guess what? Five Finger Death Punch is pop bullshit with metal, and I'm just not interested. Right? But
I wouldn't go that far. But hey, you know what?
Look, I wasn't interested, but now I am opening my horizons, and I'm willing to lit shit like Five Finger Death Punch and fucking Bullet for My Valentine and other shitty bands like what is that other one called? Seven Sins or Avenged Sevenfold. I'm willing to lit them in because I'm an fucking 34-year-old about to be 35, and I've just been biased about these guys look like they fucking just came out of a fucking hurricane in Hot Topic.
Well, Adrian, look, hold your horses on that because we're going to be tackling the greatest heavy metal albums of all time.
Are Five Finger Death Punch or Avenged Sevenfold in that?
Nah, dude, I said the greatest bands, the greatest albums. Yeah, not
exactly.
So
just one.
So what I did, so Josh brought up in the beginning of this pod that that we were reviewing a lot of the entire 100 films on the American Film Institute's top 100 list, and so we were thinking, as we were going through this Metalhead's journey, we're kind of getting inspired, and we were trying to think like, is there a heavy metal version of the AFI list? And long story short, there really isn't, right? There's not a consensus like, here are all the critics who review heavy metal, and here are their consensus picks, right? So what did I do, because I'm a big nerd, is I'm like, I'm going to take all these separate sources, like Rolling Stone and several other heavy metal websites, like Sputnik Music, Metal Storm, Digital Dream Door, Ranker, Loudwire, Metal Rules, the heavy metal subreddit, and I'm going to take all of those rankings, compile it into an Excel spreadsheet, and then sort that and come up with the 50 best heavy metal albums of all time. And that's what I did. And so we're going to start that here and review those 5 albums. The 50 through 46
albums.
Yeah.
What are those 5, Dave? Can we talk about that yet? Or
Yeah. So I'll the first 5 we'll be reviewing in order, starting at 50. Is Overkill with The Years of Decay, then Exodus, Bonded by Blood, Blind Guardian, Nightfall in Middle Earth. That is a Lord of the Rings concept album.
Pretty sick ass fucking name. Okay.
Familiar album to you? Death, The Sound of Perseverance. And
how's that's not in the top 5? But okay, yeah.
Hey, spoiler! There's 2 other Death albums that are higher up on the list, though.
Fair enough.
And then Emperor with the album Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk.
I feel like this
Do any of you guys have any familiarity with these 5 albums?
No.
So the albums in general, not necessarily the bands, somewhat, yeah. I know Emperor is definitely not my cup of tea, and that's going to be a fucking slog. Death I've listened to. I mean, as much as I like to fuck with you guys about it, like you guys have shown me a bunch of Death songs, and I genuinely like Death. Like any song you guys have ever shown me, I like. So, I'm interested in that album for sure. And I have already kind of skipped ahead and listened to that Overkill album. And hey, just let me tell you a little story, Adrian.
All right,
you're in for a treat, bro. It's a great album.
Let's do it.
Here's what I will say. Jason, if you couldn't hear him a second ago, he was kind of under everybody talking, but he's talking about how this is going to be a long list. This is going to be a long list for the human fossil here. He's gonna be suffering for sure.
Look, Jason, I'm going to need you to just accept Cookie Monster vocals,
I know.
vocals.
I made it through Anthrax, the high pitched yelly screamy shit. I made it through the Slayer Cookie Monster, the Ward Vomit stuff or whatever.
Look, you haven't had any Cookie Monster vocals yet, but you're gonna get it. Like, look, in this first 5, I think this first 5 albums is a pretty good mix of what we can expect, because there's gonna be some power metal style vocals from Blind Guardian.
Josh and I
definitely be some.
Josh and I heard that first song on that Blind Guardian album.
Blind Guardian,
dude, it's tasty as fuck.
It's good. There's going to be some tougher vocals when you get to like Chuck Schuldiner vocals on Death. And then Emperor, it's just totally not my cup of tea. And then Jason, I think you're fucking gonna just like vomit whenever you hear Exodus vocals, because
it's rough.
An acquired taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason, I'm gonna tell you, David knows this about me. Maybe Josh knows this about me, but vocals, I can I have the ability of being a drummer, being a guitarist. I've taught myself to just listen to what the music is.
Oh, I know. I had to do that for pretty much all of it.
Cut and tune out the singer, and I think I trained myself that way, trying to learn how to play, Metallica music, or really anything, right? So I think it's something you're going to have to, being someone who doesn't like Cookie Monster vocals or Goblin vocals, like these next 50 albums you're about to listen to, bro, which we did 49 of them, so it's one less than me, Josh, and David did. You're going to have to be able to either tune out the Cookie Monster or fucking Goblin vocals or accept them, right?
Yeah, but what you may find is, like, look, the first time I heard the Toxicity record, like, I totally was turned off by Surge's vocals. Like, I didn't get it. And it took huh?
Surge? Not Darren? Okay, right on.
Yeah, no, I was turned off by Surge's vocals because, you had heard
Sugar
Chop Suey, right? Well, Chop Suey is the first song I ever heard from them. And so when I put on the album, you get Prison Song and you got fucking Jump or Pogo 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 Pogo. I'm like, wow, holy shit, what is going on? I don't get it. I'm old, right? That's how I felt.
That album.
Bounce, there he goes, Bounce. So like it took me a bunch of listens to get into Surge's vocals. So sometimes you just kind of you don't know that that's kind of your style until you listen to it a bunch of times, and then you kind of find the thing that hooks you in there, right? Like, look, I'd say for full transparency, the first time I listened to the Overkill album, I was like, vocals are not great, but like I listened to that album I think twice now. They get better, or you just get used to it one way or the other.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have like a month in between. I'm gonna have to fill in 5 albums, so it's gonna be a different album every week. I'm not gonna be able to listen to it every day. So,
hey, look,
you could give it the best that I can.
You could just power through.
Toxicity is on the list somewhere, I think.
No, it is not.
It's not.
You could just power through all 50 of these, and it only is going to take you 39 hours and 24 minutes, and just power through all 50 of them in 2 days. No sleep.
Is there any system of a down on this?
No, there's not.
If Toxicity's not here, then definitely not.
No.
Wow. All right.
Not that I'm saying that's their best record. But.
They didn't meet the cut. So.
What is the cut, Dave? Well, let the people know what the cut is.
So I had 8 sources, and you needed to show up on 5 of them because I wanted it to be, a mostly consensus thought process. And, you know, yeah, if you didn't show up on at least 5 of them, then you're not on our list. So
cool.
That's where we're at.
Fair enough. Well, hey, look, it's been an awesome journey through the Big Four. I mean, look, my eyes are open, my ears are open. I am super ready to receive this top 50 metal list because I want to see what else I've been missing out on in my super sheltered metal life. So I'm excited. I'm going to give all these albums a try, even if I already know going into it that I'm just not a big fan of the genre. But I want to see if it can change me, man. So. But hey, I'm super glad we took this journey, and I'm glad we're moving on now to the top 50 metal albums. So,
yeah, I can't wait.
I got one more thing I want to add. I did this for Anthrax and Slayer. I just kept a running tally, album by album, of how I rated the songs against their total, and I came up with a great song percentage and a crap percentage. So, as a fallback for Anthrax, they had 122 songs and 12% of them were great. 21% were crap. Slayer had 116 songs, 6% were great. 10% crap. Metallica, I did not count all of the S&M. I only counted the 2 new songs off of S&M. So they came in at 109 songs. And they actually had a higher crap percentage of 16%.
Oh.
But their great percentage is 62%.
Oh, jeez.
Fucking crazy.
Damn, guys, that's crazy. 328 songs.
Jesus.
So y'all are. Wow.
That's good shit. All right, guys. Well, look, we're coming back next week with Titanic, and then the month of May, we're doing Star Wars month, so we're going to revisit, or we're going to visit for the first time the heavy metal playlist sometime in June. So keep an eye out on that because we're also going to be doing The Boys and some other things around there, so it's going to be a little crowded. So we may have to push this back a little bit, but we'll see you guys somewhere in June for the first edition of the Metalhead's Journey Top 50 Metal Albums of All Time. In the meantime, live long and prosper.
Take it easy, everybody.
Real quick.
See ya.
Guys.
See ya.
One fucking thing. Come on. Wait. What have you fucking learned from these? Jason, you're 3.
Jesus Christ.
I'm 4. From these last 4 fucking these last 4 bands. I mean, come on, man. Like, Dave, for me,
please cut this podcast back at the ending whenever we edit this.
Guys, like, we haven't even talked about the other fucking bands. Come on. Like,
but
are these bands going to be part of y'all's regular rotation? You know, y'all talked all that hype shit when we listened to it, but we're 2 months into Metallica. Where are we at with Slayer? Where are we at with Anthrax?
As I went along, I created a favorites list in Spotify, and the songs that I considered great from each album have been added to that playlist.
What is great to you, though, Jason?
Well, that's what I just went over. Unfortunately, only 6% of Slayer songs are in my new favorites list.
Look, guys,
so
I'm sorry.
If I gave it a 24 or lower, it's on my favorite list.
So look, Jason. Yeah, Josh and David are aware. I used to have Megadeth Sucks carved into the sheetrock of my bedroom. And obviously in 2021 and 2022, I don't feel that way. Look,
I still do, Adrian.
All right. Okay.
I'm not listening to that shit.
Look, guys, the Big Four, all I'm going to say is they're not perfect. Not one of them are perfect. There's some I'm willing to argue with anybody who thinks Anthrax doesn't belong there, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't fucking know. But I'm glad we listened to 49 fucking albums. All of the Big Four. We're all learning in it. Hopefully we all learned some fucking lessons from being fucking sheltered and being fucking fanboys of only Metallica. I learned a lesson, and I'm glad. Look, me and Dave were talking about the Mount Rushmore of metal, and I told him I feel like Megadeth belongs in there for my 4, but I feel like I've only been a fan of them for less than a year, so I don't deserve to put them in my 4 of Mount Rushmore. So like my Mount Rushmore only consists of 3 bands right now. Anyway, and we'll get to that one day. But yeah, anyway, Megadeth, Slayer, nor fucking Anthrax has made it onto that Mount Rushmore. Yeah.
So there was a Met Rushmore, now there's a Mouth Rushmore?
Yeah, you definitely said Mouth Rushmore.
I guess he's been drinking more than we thought.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm on my 12th beer, and they're 16 ounces each. So, just
all right. So
take or leave what I say, all right?
So look. I'm just going to wrap this up.
Wrap it up.
As I already mentioned, there's like 7 to 10 albums in here that I that aren't in my regular rotation. And I just to reiterate, I slept on a lot of these bands, the other 3 bands before, and I'm not going to do that anymore, right? Like if they come, if Slayer decides to reform and come out with another mediocre record, then I will listen to it.
And I look forward to when Anthrax or Slayer or Metallica and maybe even Megadeth come out with their next album that we all do a review of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, this had, prior to this whole journey, I had pretty much just, I was pretty much just taking, listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks. That's pretty much it. I wasn't listening to music for a lot. So now I am again, and I'm excited about it. So, yeah, that's it, man. I think that's all I can say.
Successfully completed another podcast.
I think we've successfully completed another podcast.
All right, live long and prosper.
Take it easy, everybody.
Later.